and welcome back to another episode of Xbox Infinite. This week is a very special week. We are doing a promotion for Game on Cancer. And guys, if you can help out, I'll go to our special guest in a minute and he'll explain it better than me because obviously I'm sucking at this. But we're doing promotion for Game on Cancer, and if you guys can donate anything, let me know you've donated and we'll consider that a super chat and we'll read out your comment. That's my plan for the week. I probably haven't organized it well, but whatever. Anyway, it's been a big week. It's been a bad week. It's been a rough week. And we're going to turn it into a good week with Xbox Infinite. And our special guest, Shane Bailey. How you doing, man? Welcome to the show. Let people know a little bit about yourself. And can you tell us about Game on Cancer? What is it all about?
100%. Thanks for having me, Riskit. It's a real treat to be here. I don't get to tune in every week, but I always love jumping on and having fun in chat. So it's a pleasure to be on the show today. For those who don't know me, my name's Shane Bailey. I am the head of gaming and streaming at Cure Cancer. We are a cancer research charity based here in Australia. Now that's a weird role, head of gaming and streaming at a cancer charity. So I will explain it. Our charity's been around for 50 odd years. We focus exclusively on funding cancer researchers from all over the world. We receive applications from some of the most brilliant, brightest minds in the field of cancer research. More often than not, these applications are coming from researchers who are very early in their career. They're coming out of their studies. They don't have a lot of experience, but they've got really great ideas on how they can treat and cure all different types of cancer. So our organization has this amazing internal panel of past and current researchers who assess all these applications, rank them by brilliance, and then it's my job, as well as the rest of the fundraising team in Cure Cancer, to raise as much money as possible and fund as many of those brilliant researchers as we possibly can. I was brought on board about a year and a half ago to lead what was a very nascent, I suppose, gaming part of the organization. The team was dabbling here. My background is marketing and communications in gaming, so I used to work for Ubisoft Australia in a variety of different roles, shipping games like Watch Dogs and Rainbow Six and Assassin's Creed and that sort of thing. So they wanted some expertise to come in and really build out the gaming side of things. That's how Game on Cancer was born, and I'm very proud to say that in our very short, about 3-year run, we've raised more than $800,000 for cancer research, and it's just growing so quickly. I'm here today because Riskit and the team wanted to do some fundraising as part of a campaign that we're working on with the local Bethesda team. So they're supporting us by fundraising for blood cancer research to celebrate the launch of Redfall. So really happy to be here. Just really, it's a treat to be able to join on the podcast and do some good for the world and really join the gaming community in making a positive impact in the world of cancer research. So thank you so much. That was very long. I apologize.
No, that's perfect.
No.
It was a terrible introduction for me about it. But like, guys, if you want to donate, we'll consider it a super chat for the show. The donate link is up the top there. Just donate, hit type question in the chat and let us know how much you donated, and we will read it out as a super chat for the week. It is a week, isn't it? We do once a week, so I'm going to say week, but for the day. Doom Cutie, welcome back to the show. It's been a very, very bad week, so hopefully we can brighten everyone's day. And it is a very special day because
Happy birthday!
It's your birthday.
Oh my goodness, that soundboard is going to be a thing this episode. I have a feeling.
Thank
you so much. Yes, it is my birthday today. I'm turning 21. Thank you. Officially legal Americans. No, I'm kidding. Thank you so much. And yeah, thank you for all the people who've already said happy birthday. It was so lovely. And Pete last night organized a little gaming session for us all. So I was able to ring in my birthday at midnight. And yeah, it was really, really lovely. So shout out to Pete and everyone who came along for that. This week I have been playing lots of different games. I've been playing Jedi Survivor. I've been playing Redfall. I got into Ravenlok yesterday, which I don't know. We probably won't talk about it, but yeah, it's pretty good, pretty linear. So really, really big news this week, I suppose. And I'm sure everyone's going to have some really interesting things to say. I'm so happy that we have Shane on. When I went to PAX last year, he like bailed me up at a Bethesda party, and he was like, "Doom Cutie," and I'm like, "Hi." And it was a bit wild because not many people had actually like come up to me like that. Like, yeah, love the podcast, been listening for ages. Where's Riskit? All that stuff. So it was like, I'm so happy that you're here with us today. They do amazing work over there. I've seen their teams out at the conventions, and they're just incredible. Their energy, the enthusiasm is just brilliant. So wonderful people to be donating to, and a fantastic cause today to be donating to.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, again, guys, if you do want to donate, the link is at the top of the chat, or it is in the description. Just hit that. Tell us how much you donated, type question, and we will read it out as a super chat. As you know, I don't have super chats live because, I don't know, American tax and stuff. JediKnightPeter, welcome back to the show. It's been a really rough week for Xbox. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a lot of things. Let's brighten things up.
Pete! No!
How's your week been?
Happy birthday, cutie. It was my pleasure to organise something for you. Great part of the community. Really had a good time. Not much sleep, a little bit hungover. That as well as Shane joining us for just what I think is a fantastic cause. So I don't ask for super chats literally ever. But this is a special day, guys. Like the work that Shane does through Game On Cancer is amazing. The whole conglomerate has raised over $90 million. They've put about 56 years worth of research into cancer, had over 550 research grants. So amazing cause. Please dig deep. It really will go to a worthy cause. Look, it's been a terrible week for Xbox. We will get into it. I didn't mind playing Redfall with friends. I played it by myself. It's not fun, but I just wanted to try it out, but damn, Jedi Survivor has got its hooks into me. I don't want that game to end. I have basically stopped playing the story because I never wanted to finish.
And Pete has finished. Awesome. Well, Umbra's moved again. Is this permanent? I feel like I might have skipped the queue.
I think it is.
Seems like it's a permanent thing, right? Umbra, welcome back. How's your week been? It's been a very horrific week for Xbox. But I don't know if we can bounce back, but we'll see. How's your week been? What have you been up to? What have you been playing? A lot of Redfall last year?
I have played a good amount of Redfall, actually. But maybe about 6.5 hours in, maybe. But no, Jedi Survivor has taken all of my time. It is a magnificent game. Bugs and all. Now, they've patched it, though, but man, do I love that game. I am really entrenched into it. So far, like Pete pointed out, I'm not really even doing the story bits. I'm kind of just doing all the side content and everything and collecting things right now. It's too good of a game. I'm putting it into my Game of the Year contenders list right now. Yeah. Oh, and I was going to do my John Legend-esque version for Cutie's birthday, but I think Riskit might mute me, y'all, so I can't do it. So I apologize.
You can do it. I won't mute you. This is a special day.
It's a special day, huh?
It's Happy Riskit Day.
Happy Riskit Day. Okay, let me try my John Legend. Happy birthday, little cutie. Happy birthday today. How was that?
It took everything I had not to mute you.
Thank
I know it took all the power you had.
That was awesome.
Press that button.
That was beautiful.
He's a singer, you know that, Shane.
Have you been playing Lips,
Rick.
Umbra?
Lips? What's that?
Oh,
I played
this is
Ladies'
the,
Lips.
The 360 SingStar competitor way back when.
Oh, okay.
Anyone remember that?
Rock Band, I did. I love me some Rock Band.
No.
But no, not Lips. Only Lips I played with are Ladies' Lips. Shane, you know.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
Oh my God. Moving on. I have to definitely.
That's a spicy meatball!
Oh
Sorry.
Lord.
Someone take that soundboard away from him. Oh my God.
Yes, I have set up the soundboard. Silent Cypher, first to donate. He donated $20. Thanks. He says, thanks for bringing attention to cancer research. Absolutely. It is my pleasure. I have family members battling cancer right now, so anything I can do to bring some attention to cancer research, I will do. Well, look, we'll move on to the topics, and obviously the first topic off the rung for this week is going to be Redfall. Now, this is an interesting one. If you don't know, Shane and the Game on Cancer guys are actually working with Bethesda right now to promote Redfall. But you know me, I don't hold back. So, what a disaster. What an absolute disaster. There's a lot around this that we definitely got to talk about, and I'll get into the panel. But my first experience with Redfall was on the Series S, and it was running at sub 720p. It's playing on the screen right now. This is captured in S, and I don't know if I got it close to any of the writing on the walls or anything, but everything was extremely blurry. It was definitely sub 720p. The assets, you'd run into a dead body, go into a couple of rooms over, there'd be another dead body, exactly the same. Cars in the same parking lot, like Pete was saying earlier on this week, absolutely true. There'd be exactly the same car asset. And look, I know it's not as well when I say this, but it seems like it's phoned in. And I don't believe that that's how Arcane operates. And I'm actually really confused as to how this went down. I'd really be really interested. I think a couple of people have said it in the community, but I'd be really interested to see a documentary about how this happened. I mean, we were told 60 FPS, and we got 30 FPS. Obviously, they did make everyone aware of that a couple of weeks prior. That was a blindside, and we talked about that. But then to drop a game this substandard, this is not the quality that we expect. And I will preface this by it's absolutely fine if people are playing this and having fun. Like I got no issue with people having fun with a game that scored low. But my thing is just call it what it is. And it's not a good game. It's not what I expect from Bethesda. It's not what I expected from Arcane. The world building in this that's one thing that Arcane is 110% known for. And their prop, when you do world building, it's all about prop placement and little things that you find throughout the world and see throughout the world. It's just not there. And like I said, it feels like a generic sort of phoned in version of an open world shooter. They did say prior to the launch that, it was a sort of a cross between Borderlands and Far Cry. I just don't feel that. I think it's something of itself. The AI is absolutely horrific.
It's more of a Far Cry from Borderlands.
But yeah, it's just disappointing. It was an extremely disappointing launch. And how it happened, the questions that I have around it, and I'll get into them later with the panel. I just want to get everyone's thoughts on the game first. But, I have a few questions about, what the hell is going on over there? What happened? What do they do now? And obviously the Phil Spencer interview we'll get into as well. But, Umbra, look, I'll go to you first. I mean, what are your thoughts on the game itself, playing, having played 6 hours?
Yeah, it is, I was going to say it's interesting, but it's not. It's unfortunate because I expected so much more from Arcane. I expected much more from Xbox too. A lot of this is confusing. Just like you said, I said the same thing and I'm still confused. And I know many of us are. Playing it, you can't have fun in it. I don't want people to misunderstand and think that there is no fun to be had. If you are playing with a team, I've found it is pretty fun. It can be fun. But I guess that's more of a testament to you and your friends, right? And enjoying things together. So I don't know if I can credit that to the game or to whatever. But I feel like if you play it with a co-op with a team, and I think that's what it's meant to be, really. It can be fun, but that does not take away from it being mediocre. And that is the unfortunate part. Foundationally, no. This is, and unfortunately, Chicago is nearing summer, So you all might hear unfortunate noises. Because there's a lot of people being outside being idiotic. Anyway, so yeah, unfortunately, it's a thing where it's baked into the game. The mediocreness of it, if you will. It's not a matter of, oh, it's just these bugs. If you've patched in these bugs to fix the AI, which I doubt they would do and fix, then everything else will be good. No, you can't do that. Then it's the emptiness of the world, the void of the world, and you're just running around for minutes at a time and not finding any enemies or anything. It's just void. Now, people try to use the excuse, what if vampires came in and they took out all the people? Okay, but what about the enemies then? Where are the vampires at? If you're going to take away the human interaction, then give us enemies to actually come across. And they're few and far in between. And then you have the situation, of course, with the mission structure. And it's basic, it's very basic. And is what it's basic, more or less fetch quests. More or less, all of them, just about. And you would think that the enemy difficulty would be harder, the more difficulty you put it up, but it's really not. It's not much of a challenge of a game, even at that as well. The only time it really gets challenging is if you're swarmed by, a group of vampires. That's really it. Other than that, it's not that tough. And so it's a lot of issues with the game just internally. It's like the core of the game has so many different issues. And that's the unfortunate part for me. Because, like I said, there are bits and pieces that can be fun. I don't like the gunplay. I thought that was really poor. Come to find out, they got on, I believe they had it was id software that was supposed to help them with the gunplay or something like that. I don't know how that worked out, but it didn't work out. And then you had this situation, of course, with the 60 frames per second, where they had brought in the coalition. We come to find out to try to help them with that at the last minute. It feels like a failure all the way around. And my thing though is even if we're going to talk about Phil and team or whomever not really being I guess hands-on with them, I don't understand on how they've made games before that were at least good and then release this. It doesn't add up to me. And like I said, the I don't know, the biggest compliment I can give the game is if you play with a team, you can enjoy it. But there are so many baked in issues on top of bugs and on top of load ins and pop ins and texture pops and things. It's just so many issues with this game that it's almost, I don't want to say embarrassing, it's just unfortunate. That's really what it is to me. And at first I had it at like a 6.5, but now the more I've played it, I'm at a 5. It's a 5 out of 10 for me. And I think so much has gone wrong. You can see it too. I know we're going to talk about it later, but you can see it with Phil. When Phil played it, you could see how he was talking about it. He just seemed upset. So he knows, he realizes it. It's not something I think some people will, I guess, out of their out of their want to try to protect Xbox against our hooved brothers, try to, up the game and, oh, it's good. I haven't come across one bug. It's like, okay, you're just in denial. And I get why that happens. It's an unfortunate part of the console warring that happens because of that. It's a byproduct. But this game's not good. Again, you all are free to enjoy what you like. I'm never going to tell anybody what to play, what not to play, what not to enjoy, etc., etc. That's not my job. It's not my want. I have no interest in doing so. But we have to face facts. And the fact is this game is poor. Now, there is maybe a silver lining. There could be a negative, I guess, too, because it could be a case where Arcane Austin is folded into something else. Maybe, you never know. I don't know if it's that drastic. Maybe not, because it's like their first misstep.
That's not a good thing. Arcane Austin.
Well, that's not the good part I was talking about. That wasn't the good part. That was the bad. I'm saying there is a positive that possibly could happen, and that is that they'll rebound stronger than ever. Right? There is the case of that. There is a case where Xbox proper, from what we've heard from Phil in that interview, they're going to be much more hands-on on something we all complained about, as you remember, Pete, on where it felt like they were kind of too hands-off. So I think maybe this right here will refocus them properly to be more hands-on and to make sure that the quality control is much better going forward. We heard Phil in that interview, and he pointed out that their internal testers, mock testers, gave this double-digit score higher than what the meta actually came out as. And I can't for the life of me understand how they came to that. I don't think anybody can come to that understanding. And I know there are different probably builds of what they got to play versus what the final build was, but there is no way in the world this game was at least a 70 or something like that.
Emotional, damn it.
Yeah, that was poorly timed. So what the hell you press that for? My biggest thing for this, and I'll wrap it up for myself, is like I said, I want to give a positive, and the positive I think we can take from this is that Microsoft, as proper as far as field and team, are going to be much more focused on making sure they give us quality releases going forward. And I think that's the positive I can take from it, because you can see how Phil looked. You can see how the reception of this was. I know this hurt the Arcane team. I know they didn't want to give us a mediocre game. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. We have to face facts. So I feel like because of that, the next thing they do is going to be bigger and better. That's the best way I can, I guess, cap this off positively.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there is probably some positives to take out of it, but there's no immediate positives that we can see. He may, and we'll get into his interview in a minute, but like he may or may not make the changes that needs to make. But I mean, there's some people that have brought up Halo, like we saw Halo, and what happened after that? Was there no changes made? So, Pete, what are your thoughts on Redfall so far? What do you think of the game?
I know I shouldn't go to this first, but Phil Spencer did not need this. You saw him. I know we're going to talk about the interview later, but he just didn't need it on his plate with everything else that's going on. I really feel sorry for him.
You sound far from your mic, dude.
When I first started playing, is that better?
Yeah. Yeah.
When I first started playing Redfall, I actually enjoyed it. I jumped in with a couple of really good friends, KJ and J-Rock, and I had a really good time. I didn't really want to listen to too much of the hype. I wanted to make up my own decision. And when you're playing with a group of friends, there is fun to be had in this game. I think Riskit prefaced like how bad it looks on Series S. It doesn't look as bad on Series X. Yes, the game has its flaws, all that kind of stuff, but I still had fun. I went back and I played it single player, and the experience is incredibly different. It's just a bad game altogether. It is not fun if you're not there with your friends. I couldn't find the fun in the game. And the most difficult thing for me to get over is this just does not feel like an Arcane game. I do not see the environmental storytelling. I don't see any of Dishonored in here. I don't see any of Prey in here. I don't understand where the soul of Arcane went in this game. I didn't like Deathloop, but I said, okay, that's Arcane's secondary studio. Wait for Redfall to come out. I really think it's going to be good. I had high hopes for this game. I like playing games in co-op, and I was just so incredibly disappointed. This is a double A game at best, and it's the very first party Xbox game that they've launched at $70 or $125 in Australia. It would have made sense if it was maybe a $40 game, because I'd say that's about where it's worth. But charging somebody this much it's just not right. I feel sorry for anybody that bought this game. I think they should ask for a refund. The good thing about me is I got it on Game Pass. I didn't have to pay for this game, and I think maybe that's where my enjoyment came from as well. Like, I got to play a game that was on Game Pass. I didn't have to pay for. I got to jump in with my friends, and I had a little bit of a good time. But I can't see myself going back and playing it single player. That's typically how, I played my Arcane games before. I loved Dishonored. I loved Prey. I really enjoyed both those games. This is the first game that they've made in Unreal Engine. I'm not trying to make an excuse, but I mean, I just don't know how we. Yeah, I don't know how we got here. Yeah. Why did they move away from CryEngine and make it in Unreal Engine? I mean, I don't know how we got here. This game got a 6 to 9 month delay, because what was it like 9 months ago if this is the state that it released in? If you just walk through the world and go from one mission, walk through the actual open world to get to the next mission. You won't even run into anything. There's literally nothing in the world. You'll hardly even run into vampires. It's that much of a joke. If you go from mission to mission, it's not that bad. You got to fast travel to actually find something to do. But the world is absolutely dead. It's barren. I just don't understand it. Even the leveling up system is ridiculous. So for the guy that I played as Jacob, a couple of his level ups are carry more medkits, and another one is carry more ammo for your assault rifle, and another one is carry more ammo for your shotgun. I mean, there is just no thought. There is no soul behind this game. Jacob is meant to be a stealth character, so that's how you're meant to play the game. And I really enjoyed using my Raven at the start. So you'd send your Raven out, he would mark enemies, and then you're meant to snipe them. Like, that's how you're meant to play the game as Jacob. Later on in the game, one of the upgrade trees for the Raven actually does damage to the enemies, and if you do damage to the enemies, it alerts them and you know where you are. So it takes away the whole stealth aspect. Who thought of that? I mean, how did this game get through quality assurance? It really, really is a shame. I'm probably going to go back and play with friends because I did quite enjoy that. I always like playing with my mates. That's how I enjoyed the game. But yeah, it's really disappointing, and I feel sorry for Phil Spencer.
You know, I just want to add to you, though. You're right. I don't know why they went from the CryEngine 2, but they have experience with Unreal because the DLC for Prey was used in Unreal. So just to put that out there. But
yeah, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Yeah, Dishonored 1 was made in Unreal 3. Because there's a lot of people saying that. Like, you can be forgiven for that 110% because a lot of people saying, hey, it's the first game in Unreal. It's the first game in Unreal 4, right? Not 3. They've dealt with Unreal before. And did a great job.
I think they may have even used Unreal 4 for the DLC for Prey. I'm not sure if it was Unreal Engine 3 or 4.
Right,
but,
yeah.
They used it.
Yeah, so, I mean, it honestly is extremely confusing how we got here. And Shane, definitely going to go to you. I know that you probably would have had a bit of a chance to jump into it and play the game. And yeah, I mean, I'll go. Well, apparently Prey, sorry, I was just looking as I was talking then. Apparently Prey is made in Unreal. So CryEngine was the original game and the DLC was done in Unreal 4. Absolutely bang on. So Shane, what did you think of Redfall? And I do understand that you have friends over there at Bethesda, but real honest feedback is always going to help. We're not here to just dunk on the game. It's just giving our honest thoughts.
No, 100%. I actually haven't had a chance to play it. It's on the agenda for this weekend to jump in with my mates and give it a go. I'm actually still keen to try it. Like I have avoided reviews just because, like others have mentioned to you, I like to make up my own mind. I find it hard to believe that I'm going to love it just based on the critical reception so far. Looking at the footage you have on screen right now, Riskit, I think artistically it looks kind of cool. Yes, it's a bit graphically underwhelming, but Arcane usually go with an art style that isn't, slap you in the face impressive. And that's totally fine with me. If this is the artistic direction they want to take, then that's their choice. And I kind of like it. I think it looks cool. Yes, let me preface all this by saying that I have friends at Bethesda. They have worked closely with us at Cure Cancer. And like I mentioned at the top, we're raising funds for blood cancer research at the moment. Some of them are my best friends. Some of them I used to work with at Ubisoft, and now they're working at Bethesda. So I say all of that just to I suppose, preface where my commentary comes from. Obviously, I can separate my personal relationships with Bethesda and my feelings towards the game that Arcane, a completely different studio, has delivered. I think what is most baffling is how we got here, and Peter and Umbra commented on, this is the game that we weren't worried about, right? This is the game, Starfield was kind of the one on the horizon. We're like, is Bethesda Game Studios going to deliver? And you look at Redfall and you say, the commentary was, Arcane never misses. everyone remembers the lead up to Deathloop. You know, people were confused. What is this game? What's it going to be? People aren't understanding the game mechanics, and it turned out great. And I think most people were feeling that way going into Redfall. It's just like, well, you know, is it Far Cry? Is it Borderlands? Is it more like Left 4 Dead? Like, what is this game? And I think most people are like, you know what, Arcane don't miss. We'll judge it on launch, and lo and behold, they haven't hit the mark. So. Like you guys, I'm just really confused how we got here. It seems like the Arcane DNA just hasn't come to fruition in this title, and that's really, really baffling. I don't want to speak too much on the commentary that Phil gave in the Kind of Funny interview, but I think it gives me hope that this is the last time we see this happen from any of Xbox's internal studios, not just Xbox Game Studios, but Bethesda as well. So yeah, I'm afraid I can't comment too much more on it because I haven't played it myself. I still am keen to try it. I noticed Mark earlier in the chat said it looks like a game that Undead Labs has shipped. Like, I actually enjoy State of Decay 2. I think it's like a fantastic co-op experience. Yes, in the like when you compare it to Redfall, it doesn't deliver on a technical front like Redfall doesn't as well. But what Undead Labs did with the State of Decay 2 is actually deliver a zombie survival simulation experience that does hold up from a fundamental gameplay perspective as well. And it doesn't seem like Redfall is delivering on the vampire hunting experience that we all wanted to have. So I think, and again, this ties back to Phil's commentary, it doesn't look like they've delivered on that creative vision or on the technical front as well. And I think the former is where it's most confusing for fans because we really, I think anyone would have bet that Arcane would deliver on a vision for a game. The technical stuff is disappointing as well, but that can always be fixed later. So the fact that they're not delivering on both fronts is just really disappointing and I suppose really confusing as well.
Yeah, it is. It is really confusing. That's the absolutely baffling. It just seems that it's one step forward and two steps back for Xbox at the moment, and they seem to have lost any momentum they had. Abdul, who posted in the chat, he said, "What up with all the doom and gloom I'm hearing all month long from ponies and ex-boys alike? Firefield, stop making consoles, stop with Game Pass. That's BS. It is BS. Absolutely, I agree with that, mate. But you got to call out.
Foolish.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had the show since that Redfall release, so we got to call it out. It's what we do. You know, whilst
Shane, all I can say, mate, is play it with friends.
yeah,
There
whilst
is
we
fun
are
out there.
we are Xbox fans, we're not. I mean, I suppose if you look at my Twitter, you might think I'm an Xbot, but I'm a reasonable, rational, and when things are not right, if you don't call it out, then we're not going to get better in the future, and that's why we're doing this. Dude, Cutie, I got to get your opinion on the game because I know you've played quite a bit of it, and you don't normally play scary games.
No, I don't. But the idea of this game seemed like it was a little bit more fun. It was a little bit quirky, which I, coming from Arcane, their stories are so interesting. The gameplay is so different compared to the masses. So that's the reason why I jumped into it, and I was given the opportunity to review it, which was really, really cool. So yeah, I've invested quite a bit of time into this game, and overall, like, my review is it's not the best, simply because, I mean, Shane hit the nail on the head when he said we weren't worried about this game, and then for it to be massive disappointment, like, I feel like that's adding so much fuel to the fire. That is the reception of this game. Like, the game has its moments. Like, I had a lot of fun playing in a group, and I feel like, Pete, you agree with me on this. It's fun to play with your friends in a party. It's got some good vibes, but it just feels undercooked in the sense of a lot of the there's I just want more. It made me want more. It made me want them to invest more time into developing some of the lovely foundations that this game has. But unfortunately, overall, my experience felt like I didn't care that it wasn't 60 frames per second. I said that before. I don't care it was 30 frames per second. it didn't worry me. But the fact of the matter is, this game is unfinished. It was released, and in Australia, we're charging $164.90 for the buyback edition of the game, and that to me it's not good enough. And I don't know what has happened, but this game got released unfinished, and I'm really sad. I'm really sad for Xbox. I'm really sad for Arcane, and because we know that they create these incredible worlds, and it could have been really, really amazing. So overall, that's my general vibe from it. I will continue to play it in a group, but outside of that, until there's some sort of patch, something like that, it's probably not going to be high on my list of games that I play. Yeah,
Yeah.
we spoke a little bit about this on. I was on a Game Set Live yesterday, and we were comparing the I guess the bugs of Jedi Survivor and, the obvious bugs that Redfall has on release. And I don't think that's a fair comparison. And I know people out there are comparing them. And the fact of the matter is, I don't think that Redfall and, Arcane had the same amount of money, same amount of time, same amount of funding that Jedi Survivor had. So yeah, I just wanted to comment on that as well.
I remember that comment and that commentary, but so I had to push back on that because
I know.
Though you're correct that they don't have the same budget. You're correct there. That's clear. I mean, it's obvious. But the problem is people have tried to scapegoat a game, and I don't like when people do that. When we're talking about something, it's like, well, what about this person? Well, what about that? It's very childish to me when I hear that. I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying I've seen people do that. Like, well, what about that game over there? Like, listen.
Yeah, this is. I don't think it's a strong argument, and people are saying.
No, I get you. I'm just saying, like, I hate when people try to do that to excuse another game. Like, we're talking about Redfall, and then people, well, what about if you all enjoyed Star Wars? Listen, but not all bugs are created equal, and not all games are created equal. The problem with that comparison is that at its core, Star Wars Jedi Survivor is a great game. Bugs be damned. And now they've patched it. It's made it much better. Still needs some more work, though. I will admit, because it closed on me a few times. But the game is a great game despite the bugs. Redfall, rather, is a bad game with bad bugs and other issues. That is the major difference.
Yes, but my argument to that is that we're jumping into a world that is brand new. When you launch Jedi Survivor, you were going into a world you love
I don't
already.
think that matters. I don't think that
I
matters.
think it does.
I don't think it does.
God,
I think a good game. No. That is a terrible use of that at that moment. That the difference is though is if you make a great game is a great game no matter if you've been in that world or if you enjoyed it or not. Now I'm not trying to say that obviously there's some cachet to loving Star Wars. If it's a long time franchise, you're not wrong there. I'm just simply saying a great game is a great game. It being something that you loved before doesn't make it better suddenly. I'm talking about on a real objective level. On an objective level, Star Wars, no matter if you love that franchise or not, is a great game. Its bones are there. It's a great game. It's not, and Redfall is a mediocre game. That's the difference. So those bugs hinder it further, whereas the bugs are tolerable in Star Wars because the game is so great. That's the difference.
I'll add to that and say that, and QD, I know you haven't had a chance to play Survivor yet.
No, I have played it.
Oh, you have played it?
Yeah.
Oh, you have? That's right. Yeah, you said you did. But look, when you really get deep into that game, there's developing mechanics. It's a Metroidvania, so the world always feels like there's got something to do. The story is absolutely fantastic. The only thing about that game that is bad, it's really got nothing to do with the IP. Like they built off the IP to build the story, absolutely. But I would argue that it has more on the line. So if you booted up Jedi Survivor and it was bad, then look at Star Wars fans. They will literally, honestly, it has to be absolutely magnificent for it not to get shit on.
That's a fact. We all know it. Star
Yeah.
Wars fans, I've said it before, Riskit, like Halo fans are just under Star Wars fans to me, where you cannot satisfy everybody and everybody will find something that bugs them about it. Star Wars fans are far more ridiculous than Halo fans.
Yeah, they get out of control. I mean,
I had one of the best moments I've ever had in gaming in Jedi Survivor. That game, bugs and all, is just absolutely amazing. The bones of the game are fantastic. I just wanted to say one more thing. Everyone was complaining about the 30 frames a second when it launched. That's what all the feedback was. That is the least of the game's problems. In fact, I didn't mind the gunplay, apart from the fact that the sensitivity is all broken, the dead zone is broken. I think if they can fix those issues, shooting doesn't actually feel too bad in the game.
Yeah. It's not terrible, but it's not great either. And it needs some
I
adjustment.
think it's terrible.
There's a
I'm gonna
complete
be honest with you.
there's a complete lack of options to fix the issues that I have with it. So so if you would normally have dead zone options, and there's literally none of that there, and it's just I think it's turned. I can't even remember what the options are now because I was like, "What the hell is
so
this?"
there's
Input
three
latency
options.
down.
You can change the sensitivity from I think 0 to 10, but there's also a thing where you can change it from default to slow to high about the input latency. If you put it down to low and then turn it up, the vertical sensitivity goes like it goes too high. If you leave it on default and then turn it down, same thing. Like you can't manipulate the vertical and the horizontal sensitivities, so the vertical sensitivity ends up being incredibly ridiculous, and the horizontal sensitivity is incredibly slow. There's no way to fix it. Plus the dead zone issue, there's nothing there for that as well. I just don't understand why they didn't have those options in the game. It really doesn't make sense for a shooter.
It's why I said it. It's why I said I don't think the gunplay is good at all. Because even when you aim, I'm sure you all have noticed this. When you aim, there's no ADS proper to magnetize you to where you're aiming at. Instead, it throws you off your aim. So now you have to readjust as you do it.
See, I found it was so extreme that when I tried to aim on, it would pop it out. So it would rip it onto the vampire from, I don't know, like way further away than I would expect it to, and it the magnetism was ridiculous. And then so you're trying to aim, and then you end up over aiming. So the magnetism pulls you on, and you push past, and that's extremely annoying. I do want to address one thing in the chat there. Dauntless Dragon.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
So he said, so you'll admit that Redfall sucks.
Finally you used it right.
So you said you'll admit that Redfall sucks. I don't admit that anything. That's not the language that you would use. We haven't been walking around arguing that it was bad. Like that's how you admit things, is when you've said something else. We all think the game is bad. So if you're wondering what the hell's going on here, because it seems like you basically don't have a clue what's going on half the time. Yeah, we're talking about how bad the game is, and it's disappointing, really disappointing. And let's get into what the hell happened. Like, I before we do get into what the hell happened, and we'll probably jump through the Phil Spencer interview, I think, here as well, because that's telling on what was going on in the background. I think it's quite clear that there's extreme hands-off at the moment, and that's a problem. We've been saying that's a problem for quite some time here on Infinite. But before we do, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We are running promotions this week for Game On Cancer, where if you donate in the chat and you type in your question, we will read out your question. Big Mad Mo had a question. I'll read it out. But what we're doing this week, Mad Mo, is super chats. Just go donate there and then type question in the chat. Let us know how much you donated. And we'll read out your question, but I will read it out. He said, do you think they'll keep going and put it in UE5 like planned? Do you think it can be like a Sea of Thieves and bounce back for the better? I think we're going to cover that in a minute because that's within the Phil Spencer interview. But guys, yeah, if you want to donate, that's absolutely fantastic. Let us know. If you don't have a question, just let us know that you did donate. The link is in the description. The link's also at the top of the chat. All you do is click on that, and even $1.50, everything helps to go towards cancer research. This week. So like, obviously there's two hands off here. It's the problem. And we've been saying this for a while. There were hands off with Halo, and someone brought this up earlier on Twitter to me, and it's not the same thing. And I completely understand them being hands-off with Arcane because they've had no reason to expect this to happen, one. And two, this is not their Xbox, as Umbra was saying, it's not Xbox proper studios. This is the Bethesda arm, and this is being managed by...
So,
it doesn't excuse it.
I'll ask you this. Do you think that Xbox actually had oversight over Arcane, or do you think that was completely in the realm of Bethesda?
Yeah, and I do think it was in the realm of Bethesda and Heinze. I think Heinze is probably more responsible. And this bullshit, I've got to say, I'm going to call this out. This absolute bullshit that I've seen on Twitter of people saying, fire Phil Spencer. Phil said he can't compete against PlayStation. And I'm really sorry, but just go and get fucked.
Ridiculous.
That's the dumbest shit that I've ever heard. Like, and the idiots saying that just show how little they understand about how business works. This is a process failure. And he said as much in the interview. He said they brought Arcane in and Bethesda in, and they've obviously put the focus on Starfield, and rightly so. They expected Arcane to deliver. Should they have checked out what was going on in the game? Should they have an oversight? Absolutely, but I really don't believe that they did, and I think that's a process failure. They expected Bethesda to manage themselves. I don't think they can do that anymore. And I've been saying this for a while, and it seems like now everyone else is saying it, and you guys here on the panel, you can attest, I've said this many times, I think that Matt Booty needs a team. He needs a team to reach out to those studios and get back to him with what they need, what they can do, and where they're at. Because it seems that Matt Booty, what he does, and every time he says what he does, is that he gives the studios what they need. I think he needs to be checking on where they're at, reporting back, and then being able to give directives. And if Phil needs to go out there and say, this is not good enough, do this, then that needs to happen. And I just don't think that that's happening at the moment.
I think it also needs to be, sorry, Jump in, I think it needs to be proactive from Bethesda's side as well. Like, it can't just be a review process. It needs to be, hey, Arcane's having trouble hitting these benchmarks. Who can we lean on to get that expertise? The coalition is, the coalition are masters of Unreal Engine. They ship Gears 5 multiplayer with 120 frames per second. You should be knocking on their door, the second there's signs of trouble. And that's the integration I think most people want to see when, Bethesda joins Xbox Game Studios and you talk about sharing technologies. We see it happen within the XGS group, where Sea of Thieves Water appears in Forza Horizon and that sort of thing. But it needs to be happening more often, and it needs to be done earlier. And to my first point, it needs to be proactive. It can't just be, let's check and see what's happening, what's going wrong. Flag it before something goes wrong. That's my 2 cents.
No, I think that's a very salient point. The thing is, you're right. Like, it's not just one facet, it's multifaceted. And if they're having these issues and the director is seeing this, how didn't he think, hey, let me reach out. Hey guys, we're having issues here. This is looking like this. They've put out good games. They know what a good game looks like internally, the bones of it. If we are just gamers and can say, nah, the bones are messed up, the bones are incorrect, the bones are diseased, how don't they see that? It's impossible. So what are they doing on that end where they don't see that and say, hey, we got to correct this immediately? It's an issue. And part of the bigger thing is Redfall is more of a AA game masquerading as a AAA game. That's another issue. And it's got a AAA budget because the game probably costs 40 to 60 million to make. The budget for it, though, is more than that because as we all saw, and people praised Microsoft for, or Bethesda for, we saw a marketing campaign for it. So that cost even more. That added to the budget. How do you budget that, but not properly look into what the game is and how it is and what it looks like? So people will say, hey, delay it. A delay would not have fixed this game. This game would have to be remade. In fact, because the bones of it are so corrupt. You know what I mean? That's the problem for me, Shane. It's like it's a point where it's multifaceted. So it also does come back to Matt Booty or Pete Hines, whomever, because even if it's not a matter of just what's the director Riskit of Arcane? Harvey, right?
Yeah,
Harvey Smith. If it's not just him, he has to report to somebody. Who are they overseeing? What are they overseeing that they thought this looked good? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they did try and bring the coalition in. I think they brought them in
Way too
far
late.
too late.
Yeah,
I
way
think
too
they,
late.
they got it in there to try and help them with the shooting. I think Sony do this better than anybody else.
That's
Their
not even
games
a
feel-
question.
Yeah, yeah. And I know Xbox is trying to get there. I think the coalition have been trying to lend a hand to a lot of studios now. Same with it. I think they helped with the shooting on Fallout 4. Coalition is trying to help and to get people to become accustomed with Unreal Engine 4. I'm not sure what the studio is, but they'll be doing all the animations for Xbox and then passing them on. So they are trying to take out a leaf of Sony's book. It is going to take time. I know that's not really excuses, but yeah, you're right, Umbra. I don't know how we got here, mate.
I just don't get it, Pete. And the
Well,
thing is like
that's the thing that
it's
that I wanted to add,
ahead.
that I was saying, is that it's an error in the process. So you know, when you're running I've worked in big business for a while, but usually on the shop floor, and now I'm more in the management. I get to see what sort of is going on behind the curtain and why these things happen. And these things happen because people follow processes, and the processes aren't always going to be correct, and they're not going to work and change as your business evolves. And Xbox has evolved greatly in the past 4, 5, even 6 years. It's a completely different thing. It's all in. There's I believe there's 20 more studios, could be 19 more studios on top of what they already had. You know, you've got Matt Booty, whose workload has increased tenfold, and so they were expecting, I think, Bethesda to do what they do and release, you know, these good games. It's obviously
kind of do their thing themselves.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the problem with that though, Risk, you say they've evolved. They've evolved in some ways. I don't think they've evolved when it comes to quality control in the right ways, though.
No, well,
and we know that
exactly
because you can look at Halo Infinite, for instance, that had much of the same issues. That's your flagship game. That's your flagship IP. Remember when we all saw that trailer and it showed they first showcased it? Now we were excited because we're Halo fanboys, right? So we first saw it like, yeah, finally we get to see Halo Infinite. But once that settled down, as I said on my podcast, and we looked into it and saw it for what it was, everybody was like, "What is this? What is that?"
Okay, so
Craig was born from that. So one second, Pete. I'm just saying that to say the quality control is dire enough where they allowed it to affect their flagship IP. So we've seen this issue before. So to let that keep leaking on after that fact, that's a problem that they should have been corrected.
Yeah, and I think that's where the difference lies. But going back to your point, where do they go from here? You say that you want more people under Matt Booty. I think that his portfolio has grown too far for that one man to take control over. I really do believe that. Do you think that they start now having more oversight over Bethesda? Do you think that Pete Hines and Todd Howard are going to kind of allow that oversight? Because although it's an arcane game under the umbrella of Bethesda, Xbox is taking all the heat for this. Phil Spencer's taking all the heat for this, and I don't quite think that that's right. So how do we fix this moving forward?
I completely there's obviously they're going to have a good showcase, and they're going to need to deliver on quality. But we've heard this stuff from Phil before, but I've never seen before, and I think it's just seemed to have gone over everyone's head. I don't know, especially PlayStation fans. He was pissed. I've never seen, like, Phil was angry, like he was not happy. And I think the difference between this and that, Umbra, to your point, is that this is an arm that was already operating when they bought it. So they expected it to operate. I think they took action with Halo, which is why I was saying to this guy I was having a discussion with on Twitter, it's a different thing. That was a first-party studio. I think they've looked at the issues that they had there, and they may have put processes in place, and we won't know that until, obviously the next game or the next faux pas. But I think they hadn't had these processes in place for Bethesda because they didn't think they had to, obviously. Clearly they do. So I think they need to put these processes in place. I think they need to give Matt Booty a team. I think he needs overarching control over all the studios. People saying fire Matt Booty, I think you haven't given the guy hasn't had the chance. I don't believe he's had the oversight. I don't believe he's allowed to make those decisions. I believe he's just allowed to report back and then provide the resources. That's all I think that Matt does. I think Matt should have an overarching control.
I think he did that early enough.
Yeah.
He did give them the coalition. They did go there to help. I just don't think that they went there early enough because they probably didn't ask for it early enough.
Exactly that. And Matt probably, said, "Oh, you're all good." I don't think Matt has a hand in Bethesda at the moment, and I think that needs to change.
I think like to your point about the process, like this is the first time where the Microsoft's hands-off approach has gone wrong, right? Like at least to this extent. When you look back at all the interviews about all the previous acquisitions before Bethesda, you see Fergus Urquhart, you see Tim Schafer, and the leadership team at Ninja Theory, who were excited by the fact that Xbox was going to take a step back and just give them the resources they need to deliver the games that they wanted to make. They said, "You're now part of Xbox. Keep doing what you're doing. Deliver the games that you want to make using our resources, and we'll take care of the rest." And that worked really well for a lot of other studios like Minecraft. They came in, they picked up Mojang, and that game has just exploded in popularity. It worked really well with things like Psychonauts and Wasteland and Outer Worlds. And so I think there was this precedent that like this is working for everyone. And so why wouldn't it work for Arcane, a top tier studio? So clearly this is a huge fumbling. And yeah, to your point, Riskit, you're dead on when you say there's a failure of process. They really need to take a step back and say, okay, is this the best tact in every instance? And at least at bare minimum, we just need to be keeping a closer eye on all our studios and what they're doing.
Yeah, and this would be considered under the company, and just a little bit of insight into what I do, this would be considered under the company as a major incident because it's damaging to the brand. And what I deal in is injuries and incidents. That's sort of my bread and butter. And one of the things that we know when it comes to 2 seconds. So when it comes to stopping an injury or stopping an incident, there's always 5 or 6 processes or stops or controls, we call them, that are in place to stop that one incident from happening. And we look at it as a Swiss cheese. If you line up Swiss cheese, all the holes in a line, and everything gets through all the processes, well, that's a gap, obviously, in your process. And they obviously have a major, major gap in their process. What threw me is that Hargeet Chani donated $150. So we've now raised $170. Hargeet, you're an absolute amazing legend. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Hargeet. That's amazing.
Thank you so much, Hargeet.
Yeah, that is absolutely amazing. We really appreciate it. Hargeet is the most generous man in game. Yeah, he is a legend. Absolute legend. Completely threw me off.
Until he donates thousands of dollars to me, he is not the most generous man in the community. I refuse to give him that title. In fact, I want you banished.
Spicy meatball.
Oh God! Please remove that one specifically.
Yeah, I agree with you, Riskit. I've never seen Phil Spencer like that. He was visibly angry, visibly shaken. I can't believe that he actually still stepped out to do the interview. I loved that about the man, but he was absolutely fuming. He really didn't need this. He has got so much on his plate right now with the CMA and the FTC and the EU. I mean, that is a $70 billion acquisition. The last thing he needed was all this garbage to take his focus off where it really needs to be right now. I don't think he expected it. I feel really, really sorry for the man, and I think heads are going to roll because of this.
Well, that's a question right there. I want to ask you, like right now. You said his focus needs to be, and I believe you're talking about ABK. I believe his focus is something that he said in the interview. He said, making great, there's no world in which, Starfield comes out in 11 and people start selling the PS5s. That's true, but there's no world in which, Starfield comes out, it's 11, and you don't sell consoles. So I believe that great games should be his focus. That should be his focus.
100% agreed, Riskit. And that's part of the issue I had with some of what Phil said. Like, I love the interview. I got nothing but love for Phil. I think he's a genuine, passionate dude. I do not. The idea of removing him is idiotic. So idiotic, I don't even want to comment on it. But you're right. The focus and goal, like even when he was talking about their testers who marked up the game, saying it was like double digits higher than what they got internally. It's like you should be shooting for the 80s. That should be your floor. 80s and up. It should not be 70 is acceptable, as he put it. We know some games will be 70. No, that should not be your thought process. Your thought process should be, we know some games are going to be 80. We know some games we're going to make up going to be 90. That's the problem with what I had. it should not be it felt kind of defeatist hearing him say some of that. And I know that wasn't his intention, but that's what it felt like. So,
I think
and that's
what
why I
he
say he
wanted-
has to be careful how he words what he words. But I think that was a part of the thing. He was coming off the cuff, off emotion, because he was affected by this so much.
I think what he wanted to convey was he doesn't want to take away that creative freedom that he's given the studios. And some games are going to be 60, some games are going to be 90. And yeah, look, I get how it came off a little bit like that, but I like the fact that they're still taking risks. And I forget what the English guy's name was, but he was saying that this hurts the entire industry.
Gary
And
Whitta.
I love how he placed, like how he said that, because I think we are getting too many sequels. I don't think enough people are taking risks. I love the 360 generation because we got Jade Empire and Dragon Age and Mass Effect and BioWare and all BioShock
and all of that.
and all these great games that were new IPs were companies were taking risks, and I don't want to see sequel after sequel.
I agree
wanna
with you
see
there,
these
Pete.
new IPs.
I agree with you there 100% too. Like, you're right. There should be a case where diversity and new IP, also matter. So I agree with him on that part. I just didn't care for how he was saying some games are going to be 60. I get it. The reality is, some games are going to score lower than others. But I think that their aim should always be, we know some games are going to be 80. Like, that mindset, I think, needs to change. They should be pushing higher for their quality control. That's what I meant by that.
Yeah, and I think that they should be catching these. These shouldn't be getting through the pipeline. There's obviously, something I said before, there's obviously a quality control pipeline issue. I mean, who reviews this and says it's double digits higher than it got? Like, who's doing that? And we know that they hire companies to do that job. So, and we know that they do mock interview. How did that process go wrong? There's so much. And as I said, cheese holes, slices of cheese. There's a whole bunch of things that should have happened before we got here. And so the confusion of the community is, how did we get here, is absolutely justified. And the disappointment, the anger, if you love the game, that's great as well. Like, all of that, like, is absolutely valid. The way you feel about a game is subjective, and I get it. But there's no denying that this game does not reach what I consider to be my first-party standards, and I think they are Xbox's first-party standards. But we really haven't seen. I mean, Hi-Fi Rush, it was a fantastic game, but we haven't. What is Xbox's first-party standard? I consider it to be Gears. Gears is
Forza.
Is the first-party standard, and that's what I expect from Xbox. It doesn't have to be a shooter. It doesn't have to be a third-person over-the-shoulder action adventure. It doesn't have to be a racer. It doesn't have to be anything. Like, whatever it is, I expect it to be a top-tier, whatever that is.
I think Forza might be the standard, actually, because they typically get in the 90s. So that might be the standard. I think Gears is right under it. Now, to be fair to Halo Infinite at launch was a good game. It is a good game. Like, it got an 87? That is fair.
Yeah.
That is well deserving for Halo Infinite. The problem for Halo Infinite came after the fact, where they had no foresight into actually adding into the live service. But if at the initial launch, it is, and the bones of that is a good game. That's what they need to be aiming for, stuff like that. Always aim for the higher part. And I do agree with you. Gears 5 is excellent. Like, that should be the aim for that. Aim for that always. It should never be a case where you're accepting, well, we might get a 70 for this. If I hear that from an internal tester, all right, get back to work. Let's make this game even better than what we thought it would be. That's my thinking.
Yeah. I think, Shane, you go ahead.
No, after you, Jim.
No, I think what's a fascinating thing is, like, this release and a lot of releases in the last couple of years, we also port them to PC now. And I feel like Xbox direction, in their PC Game Pass, they want people to play on computers as well. I don't know if that is potentially detracting, taking funds, taking resources from areas where they really need to be paying attention to, because those games that you mentioned before, Umbra, people weren't thinking about playing those on a PC. People were thinking about playing them on an Xbox. So potentially, we're talking about a game that started production where it was only going to be on console, and then it's moved to, hang on, we have more priorities in PC now. So I gather that would have brought about problems. What do you guys think?
I think that's a reason that they changed the GDK to make it more easy to put games on both Xbox and PC. I think that's a lot of the reason why these teams are struggling as well. This is the very first time that they have made games for this GDK. It is different. It's not a direct continuation like PlayStation has had from the 4 to 5. I know it's not an excuse, but you add that into COVID and these games were developed in a really, really difficult time. They were all working from home.
No, God, please, no!
No more COVID.
It was very difficult to transfer information over the internet. Anybody that's worked in a creative industry knows that collaboration is key. Putting heads together, when you're working on code and having to fix something and then sending it over to somebody else over the internet, then sending it back, see if it works. That's a very, very difficult process. That, along with the fact there's the new GDK, the game development kit that they changed, so it made it more easier to transfer games and make them both for the PC and the Xbox, will eventually pay off. But all these people are still getting used to it.
But I
think
Qt's nailed it as well. Like it's one of the things that PlayStation doesn't have to deal with when they're developing a game. They're developing a game for the PS5. That's it. No other SKU. They can focus completely on that console, its API, and everything that it has in the box, and they can utilize it to the best of their ability. And they will have more time and more resources go into each game for the PS5 because you're only developing for that SKU. When you develop for the Xbox, you're developing for the Xbox Series X, the Series S, and every single SKU of PC. That's a incredibly more work to do. And I think that is a thing, and that's something that was brought up, I think, to Phil, and he did answer, is that, like, it's great that you're doing this stuff for PC, but what about the guys who got you here? I mean, they didn't say it like that. And he's like, yeah, we need to put more focus on console. Damn fucking straight.
He also, you know what he also did, Risk? He also mentioned like the first class citizen thing. So we clearly Phil he has his ear to the, you know what I'm saying, to the streets, if you will. Because he's hearing these things. He heard about the firing field thing. He mentioned that. Yeah. And he also said the COVID thing, he wrote it off. He was like, I don't want to use that excuse anymore. He even said that. So it's interesting how much they pay attention, and Phil himself pays attention to the community.
That's true.
And
watch
back
this
against the PC thing as well. Like, he talked about how valuable the console owners are and how they are actually what has made Xbox and got them to this point. And I love to hear that, because you're right, Cutie, there has been a lot of focus put on PC and PC Game Pass, and I feel that we've been left on the wayside a little bit. And look, that's what I love about Phil. I hope it's not just words, but I don't think it is when it comes to him. I think there will be changes.
Yeah, Shane?
I was going to say, watch, this whole discussion around second-class citizens. I said, watch this influence the language of the Xbox Game Showcase as well. I'm confident this is something they'll address in terms of just the script at a very basic level, making sure that obviously the hardcore Xbox fans are the people that they're talking to in that showcase. I think to dial it back, like way back, the story of Xbox first party over the past, I'd say since 2017, is one of inconsistency, because for every poor game, there is also a great game, and vice versa. So what I mean by that is, like, we can rattle off a bunch of fantastic games that Xbox Game Studios has delivered, like Flight Sim, Gears, Forza, Psychonauts, amazing games. But for every one of those, there's a Redfall, there's a Bleeding Edge, there's a Crackdown 3, there's a Crossfire X. So I think the criticism is completely fair. I remember we got to the end of 2021, and they were the Metacritic's Publisher of the Year, and at least for me, I was thinking to myself, oh, this is amazing. Like, maybe our woes are finally over. We've just come off an incredible end to 2021 with Age of Empires, and Halo was in great shape at the time, Forza Horizon 5 and Psychonauts 2. Deathloop launched to fantastic reviews on the PlayStation. We're going to get it a year later. We've got Redfall and Starfield on the horizon. We know Forza Motorsport is probably going to deliver as well. But here we are, 2022 was sparse in terms of AAA standards. We still got great games like
that's being
As
too
Dusk Falls and Grounded, and true, yes. But we still got great games. Right? There was Pentiment, the reason I haven't played Redfall yet is because I'm obsessed with Grounded. I think that game's fantastic. And if Redfall ships, to the same quality as Hi-Fi Rush did earlier this year, then we're not having this conversation. So I think it's just a question of inconsistency, and I think the Xbox fan base is tired of having to wait for these amazing games to release quarterly, like we were promised. So I think it's and we might be able to move the discussion more towards like Starfield now, like all the weight is on Starfield's shoulders to deliver something amazing later this year. And, based on Phil's, very, I suppose, tepid commentary and teasing of Xbox Game Showcase and saying that's, that quarterly beat of, games every 3 months in Game Pass is finally on the horizon. I think obviously we're going to have to wait and see, but it's high time that they actually deliver on that promise. I really wish you could see at the end of that interview that Paris was biting to ask him the follow-up question after he made commentary about the fact that he doesn't feel as though he can out-console PlayStation 5. For me, the question is, he stood up on stage in 2018 and said, "We are committed to building we're committed to building an industry-leading first-party studios organization." And it's been 5 years, and that has not happened. So, is that still the plan? And if so, then when is that actually going to come to fruition? Because,
I think,
like I said, we're tired of waiting.
But it's 5 years is not a very long time when it comes to building a first party studio set. Like it took, it took most of the PS3 generation and half of the PS4 generation for PlayStation to properly start firing on all cylinders. And now look at this year. Welcome, Fonz, to the chat, by the way, mate. See you in there. Great to have you with us in the chat. I think maybe Xbox fans are a little bit harsh, but once we start getting cadence, I mean, this is where it's the misstep. We were happy to wait for the quality. I think that's been the resounding thing, and I know from Umbra it definitely has, and Pete as well, and I believe even Cutie is like, we're happy to wait for great games. We don't want you to release something broken, something unfinished, something that doesn't have the features that you promised. Everyone paid, in the US, $500, in Australia, $750 for these consoles. It's a big investment, and you invested in the promise of next generation, and they gave us what next generation was. It was 60 frames per second. It was 4K. It was possibly 120. It was ray tracing. All of these things that we haven't really seen from Xbox's first-party studios. We've seen them on PlayStation. We've seen them in third-party. Jedi Knight Survivor, even though it released, in a bit of a buggy state, it's in a much better situation now. That has ray tracing in a performance mode and runs at 60 frames a second, or it tries to.
Hogwarts Legacy.
Hogwarts Legacy. I mean, these are things that we should expect from a first-party studio.
I agree.
And in saying that, Riskit, Phil Spencer also mentioned in the interview that. And look, he was hesitant to do it because he knows how people feel, but he really does believe this showcase is going to be something special. You could kind of see this glint in his eye. He also prefaced that he can see a time, not in the not too distant future, where the cadence of big first-party games is going to be every 3 months.
So that's what they need to do. Let's talk what they need to. Let's talk Starfield. Let's talk Showcase. Before I do, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new here. Guys, today we're running a bit of a promotion or a charity. If you guys can jump up to the donate link that's at the top of the chat, or you can head down to the description. You can leave even $1, 50 cents, whatever you can donate. It's fantastic. Goes straight to research on blood cancer. And Game on Cancer does a lot of work around cancer, so definitely go follow them on Twitter. That link is in the description. We've raised $170 so far. You can leave a comment within that app when you donate, and I will read it out as a super chat. So if you have a question or anything like that, consider that the super chat for this week. Starfield, look, he was very... So the quick fire question was, are we going to get an answer on Starfield? And I believe we'll get it at the direct. But I was speaking to Hargeet earlier in the week, and this is what I believe. It's not 60. I know it's not 6. Well, I believe it's not 60. The man did not answer the question, really. He could have out and out just dropped some good news at that point and said, we'll have Starfield at 60. He didn't. So that leads me to believe two things. One, it's either at 30, or two, they're trying to get it to 30. Third option is he doesn't know, which
60,
wouldn't surprise me. Which would not surprise me.
I disagree, and I'll say why. Because one, he wouldn't announce that there. It's not worthy of that game being announced. Oh yeah, 60. it'll be just offhand. It wouldn't, it would diminish what they've been working toward. They're going to use that at the showcase because it has more impact there. 2, it was just kind of a yes or no question, so he wouldn't really have room to say it was 60 anyway with the way it was worded. Also, 3, they've had their ATG team working with them tech-wise. I think their aim is definitely 60. I don't know if they'll get there, but I think that is absolutely their aim, and I think largely it's been the reason why it's been delayed so long. And even going to what words that Phil said in the interview on how creatively Redfall was flawed. It's not the case here with Starfield. Creatively, that's solid. It's the tech issues that plague that, as far as the bugs, of course, and the frames per second. So I think their aim is to get rid of that and maybe have the Bethesda team, with Todd Howard and folks clear up as much bugs as they can, while the ATG team works with their engineers to correct the engine and get the frame rate right. That's what I think that was.
Yeah, look, I think he would have seemed more positive. I mean, it was a quick fire answer, so yes, but that's just, why wouldn't they bring this news out that it's going to be 60? That doesn't need to be dropped at a showcase. It doesn't.
It doesn't need to, but I think it has more impact there, right? I mean, to be fair, and it's only, a month away. What's more impactful? There, when he's already been, because of a depressed situation of Redfall, or at the showcase, oh, by the way, the game is running at 60 frames per second performance mode. That's going to hit heavy if they announce that there at the showcase.
Yeah, it might be their
First
one
time
thing.
we've seen the creation engine too. So I think Bobby pointed out that it's the same engine for Fallout 76. It's the same engine, but they have heavily reworked it. And if they've actually given it, from Creative Engine to Creative Engine 2. So we haven't actually seen this engine in full flight yet. I'm thinking that a lot of the year extra they took was to get this engine right, to get everything humming, to work with the team at the Xbox engineers to work out the kinks, see what they can do, make this the best possible game they can make. But I think you're right. If it's not going to be 60, we need to know now.
Yeah.
I think if it's not, then you're going to hear about it before showcase. I think if it is 60, they'll use that as a huge positive win as they talk about it in the direct. If it's not, then they'll announce it beforehand.
Yep.
Like it'll be a case of take your medicine now. Let's get the bad taste out of your mouth so we can impress you once the direct actually happens.
Exactly like they did with the Redfall. Cutie, what do you think? Do you think it'll be at 30 or 60?
Look. Hey. Okay. I didn't think you were there.
Happy birthday!
Yes, it's my birthday.
Cutie.
Everybody throw up a happy birthday for Cutie in the chat.
Pete, I will mute you. You've got a terrible voice.
Leave my brother alone.
Sounds good to me.
Cutie, what do you reckon? 30, 60? How do you think it's going to go down?
Oh, I don't know. You guys hate 30 frames per second, so I feel like you all want 60.
It's not that we hate. It's not a hate. I don't hate 30 frames per second. In fact, I think it's okay in some games. It works well. It works in some games, but you always want as many frames as you can get. You always want that in any game. So it's not a hate. Look, I don't think it'll break Starfield. I think it breaks a first-person shooter. And I will say that Redfall actually doesn't do it the 30 frames too badly. But you always want those extra frames.
Yeah.
$60 patch to Fallout 4 made a massive difference to that game in how it felt to me personally. I bought this console because Phil Spencer said that they were going to prioritize frame rate this generation. I'm really hoping it's going to be 60.
The only issue with that is that these games were started development before that was a thing, before these consoles were even made. So I think that's where people, that's where the issues lie, really.
Yeah, but that's on the
just
hardware.
More the type of experience that Starfield is, right? Like we're talking about an RPG that has 1,000 odd planets or something stupid and a ridiculous amount of interactive objects. And this is not me trying to come up with an excuse for it, but I do align more with the fact racing games, fighting games, shooting games, I think 60 is the benchmark. Starfield can be a fantastic game at 30 frames per second. Would we love it at 60? Of course. But I think I don't know. I think we should be judging it on different merits on whether it's a quality game and not just on frame rate.
I'll go to that and add to that the bigger reason why I think it could end up being 30. As we all know, Todd Howard likes 30. So if the creator behind it is like, nah, I like 30 frame, cinematic, then what are we going to do about it? That's about it. Yeah, that's the biggest case I think that it might be 30 is because of that.
I don't think he likes 30. I think that's absolute bullshit. I think he was testing the water.
Yeah. Do you honestly think that Todd Howard plays any game on Xbox? That guy plays on PC. He's a dedicated PC gamer, and he have the best rig possible.
He definitely doesn't set his frame rate to 30.
No way.
I didn't believe that for a second. I reckon he was just like,
are you guys claiming that God Howard is lying to us? Is that what you're insinuating?
No, God, please, no, no.
Look, so Xbox needs to do a lot to win back our trust. And look, after Phil's speech and just seeing how he was, seeing him angry, that was enough for me to go, okay, he's going to take some action, which is what he needs to do. But what I think he needs to do, and one of the things that disappointed me is when he was talking about how, the great games thing. I don't think that means that he's not going to go after great games. But he needs, I completely disagree. He needs to be putting out banger after banger going forward. He needs to do it with cadence. So there's plenty of games that we would like to see, but what do we really think we're going to see? And here's the thing. I think we're going to see Fable. I'm going to make that prediction now. I think we're going to see Avowed, and I think we're going to see Hellblade 2. I think those three games,
yes, sir.
If you see those three games, I think this year is 100% the year for those. I think we're going to see Fable, maybe a tiny bit of gameplay, but I would say mostly CGI. Avowed, I think that's going to be all gameplay. Hellblade, gameplay. I think we're going to see that this year. I think we need to do that. It's time to stop talking about these games and start showing us these games and then delivering the fucking things. Pete, what do you think we're going to see?
I don't know, but what I loved is he said we're going to see things that we haven't seen before. I'm hoping against hope that's Avowed. That I really, really, really want to see Avowed. I'm really looking forward to that game. I want to see more of Perfect Dark. I know we got that little bit of a CGI thing. I want to see what In Exile's working on, that steampunk shooter game. I think In Exile, with a little bit of money behind him, can do really, really great things. And I want to see what Contraband's all about. I want to see more about that game. That game seems really, really interesting to me.
Yeah. What about you, Cutie? What's your thoughts? What do you think you will see at this showcase? And what do you want to see, I would say?
It's not called the Xbox Showcase. It's called the Forza Motorsport Showcase. Just saying.
Internally, that's what you named it, huh?
yeah, that's what I'm there for. I am so excited for that game. I'm so excited to see some more gameplay. I am really, really, really hoping that they give us a date. I think they will.
So it's just Forza Motorsport for you. That's all you care about seeing? They don't want to see anything else, or?
I mean, because I don't know. I mean, I'm open to anything. Like, and this is what I'm saying. I think this is why I have like a better time sometimes than you guys do, because I'm just open to seeing anything. But if I don't see Forza
Madam,
Motorsport, I'll be.
Are you declaring that you have more fun games than me?
No, I mean for the showcases. Like,
you'll definitely get a date, Cutie. I think for Forza.
Yeah. No, I'm very excited for that game.
Okay. Well, what about you, Shane?
Like see, Grey Monad agrees with me.
Well, Gray is just he's kissing up because it's your birthday.
No, he's not. No one kisses up to me because it's my birthday.
Gray, stop kissing up, Gray. But what about you, Shane? What about you, brother? What are you? If you had to say your top 5, top 3 better yet? What's your most excited for you? But you would hope that they show.
I really want to see Hellblade, and I really hope it's this year. If it's early next year, that's totally fine. But it would be such like a cherry on top for Hellblade to like cap off the year. I'm really hopeful that game's going to be fantastic. I think Avowed is a sure thing. I think we see gameplay. On the Kind of Funny interview, Paris Lilly ran through a laundry list of games that we haven't seen before, and Phil said, we'll see dates for some of those games and gameplay, as well as new announcements. So I'm wondering who on the first party side of things is ready to reveal something new. Is it Compulsion? Is it In Exile? Is it machine games? Like, are we going to see Indiana Jones? So look, I think if they rock up with a great showing of Starfield, Forza, Avowed, Hellblade, like either Fable or Perfect Dark, I'm just, based on what we've heard, I'm not sure which of those is, closer to launch. So I think if we see one of them, that's fantastic. And then I would say a couple of new announcements and hopefully gameplay, not CG for anything new. I think I think they've learned their lesson. I would like to think that the first time we see In Exile's project or Compulsion's project, that it's gameplay.
I'm with you on that.
Kojima project.
It's probably, I think it's too early.
That's 2027 at the earliest.
Yeah, I think that's too early. But I'm with you on that 100%. The thing I'll say is Fable for me I want to see Fable, and I think it's been well past the time at this point to showcase Fable. Matter of fact, I'll go further than that. Fable, Avowed, State of Decay 3, Everwild, and Perfect Dark. All three of those games, all of five of those games. Has it been 3 years since we've actually heard or seen a thing about them? It is well past the time to showcase that.
There are so many games that,
It is. And Pete, I've been clamoring for Fable for a while. You always hear me talk about it. I expected it unnecessarily last year even. So yeah, they have to showcase that. Hellblade, I think, is a given. I don't think that's not even far-fetched to me. I'm pretty certain that'll be there. Avowed, I'm pretty certain will be there.
About the technical alpha tests that they were doing on Fable, and generally when that happens, the game is about 12 months out from launch. So that was a really good sign.
Yeah, no doubt. And so for me, if I had to give my top three, Fable, Avowed, and I would say Perfect Dark. I would like them to showcase that. And I think that, like you said too, I think both Compulsion and In Exile are going to showcase what they've got. We've been hearing about rumors about their games from Jez for a while too, so I expect to actually see that. And I'm fine with the CGI for when they first show those. I'm not mad at that if they do that, because that's the first time they'll actually showcase it and announce it. That's fine with me. But at this point, we need to see something for Fable. I know Playground is capable, but I need to see some proof of concept. I want to see what the world looks like. I want to see what the character builds, the style of the art style of the game looks like. Show me something, because everybody is hyped for this game. Everybody's hyped for Avowed. We need to see this. And I'm hoping Avowed blows us away, because we've seen now Immortals Avium, which is basically Avowed, more or less, in some styling. So I want to see if they can showcase that game looking as pretty as what we've seen from that game. And
I have a lot of
better.
faith. I have a lot of faith in Obsidian. I really, really do. I think they're a fantastic studio that's finally got some backing behind it that they've been lacking for a long time. I think the Pillars of Eternity universe is a really good universe to expand on. So yeah, I'm expecting really big things from Avowed. And MacBound pointed out the Halo Battle Royale. I totally forgot about that.
Good point. Yeah,
what do you think about that, Umber? Do you think we'll see it?
I hope so, man. It's been well long enough. Like, Certain Affinity it would be the perfect time to showcase this now. And I think Halo, as we'll be coming at that point, I think we'd be going toward the fourth season, right? It was the fourth. It'll be the fourth season, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, at that point, absolutely,
should have been the sixth season
showcasing it. I know, right? Yeah. What's up, Mav? Yo, Donnie, what's up, brother? I'll say this too. Outside of those, I feel like we're also going to see something like we probably see Contraband. We'll probably see a lot of these third-party deals, second-party things they've had in the works. Contraband will be a second party. And what was the other second party they had? I think was it a IOI? Maybe we might see that announced.
Project Dragon.
Exactly. Cool. That'll be nice.
Yeah,
to
wasn't
see.
there rumors that that's no longer exclusive?
Not that I heard. I haven't heard.
Okay, I thought.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything about that.
There are some other small things as well, like like Arrow History Untold, like that was revealed with the CG trailer strategy, 4X strategy
RTS.
game.
Yeah, it's like RTS, right?
Yeah. See, look, I've been keeping up on that with the
sorry.
developers. Sorry, just that you mentioned Arrow. Like, I've been keeping up on that, and they're doing alpha tests. They are on PC, so I haven't been able to join in. But I'm in the insider's ring on that one, and it's coming along. So I think that's a definite possibility that we're gonna see Arrow. Sorry, Shane, you were going to go on to.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I think also let's not lose the forest through the trees. There have been some great smaller games that Xbox has delivered as well. So I do want to see those really creative things that we just never expected, right? Like the Pentiments, like the Hi-Fi Rush, Grounded, that sort of thing. So Xbox, if there's one thing I can compliment them on, it's these really creative, different types of games. I want to see those two. It's the type of games that you don't know that you want until you see it. And sometimes that comes from ID at Xbox as well, like Replaced or something like that. So I hope they continue to deliver on variety.
Hargate just put a code in the chat. Thank you, Hargate, man. You too.
Very nice.
Absolutely. Hargate's put a code in the chat. He says, with the release today on old gen consoles, here's a global code for anyone with the old gen consoles. I'm assuming it's a digital deluxe edition. If you do get the code, please let us know. And also, we are raising money for charity today for Game On Cancer. Shane is from Game On Cancer, and he is a true gamer as well. They're true gamers over there. And you guys can head up to the link in the description, or you can head up to the link in the chat. And if you donate in there, you can leave a comment. We've raised $210 so far, and I will read that comment out as a super chat. Xbox needs to land this showcase. I'll be there. I will be at the showcase, probably standing outside, freezing my ass off. But I will be there at the showcase, and I'm super excited. But they need to deliver here, and then following on from that, they need to deliver what they say they're going to do. The messaging from Xbox has been bad, and this is something else I wanted to talk about. This seems like a very negative sort of bashing Xbox show, and this is not really what we're about. We're just sort of. I hope this gets back to Xbox and they listen. And look, we know they do based on Phil's thing. Whether they listen to this show or other shows that hold the same views or similar views, what we say does get back to them. And I think their messaging has been a major issue coming in. I believe that Paris was right. 2021, they over-communicated, though, I believe. I think the messaging was good, but it was over-communication because they weren't able to deliver on their promise. And then in 2022, they over-communicated again, I believe, when they promised everything in that 12 months. And that's something that made me really angry. I really lost a lot of trust about the Starfield thing. I think everyone knows this. And I was furious, like absolutely furious. It's only a couple of months.
That contributed to Redfall not being delayed again?
Well, look, I hope not, because that was never the message that I was trying to convey. The message that I was trying to convey is stop over communicating. And no, I don't really think so. But I think they need to deliver on these games at the showcase and just show us something new. They need to show us what they've promised us in 2021, 2020, even 2019 now. And they
still haven't seen Flintlock, still haven't seen Replaced, games like that I've been really looking forward to.
And I'm not worried about those games so much as the first party. But I'll say what Ethan Joy just pointed out is actually correct. Their showcases and presentations have been spot on this generation. We can give them that credit. They've been A1. It's just the deliverables after the fact that has been the case. Like, I'm glad that Paris actually, I was in his space the other day, by the way, and listening to him after the Kind of Funny interview. And he said that, he pointed out the whole situation where he asked Phil about the 12-month thing. And as you all saw, Phil was like, yeah, we failed there. So, like I said, it's good to see Phil admit that. And I think going forward, they're probably not going to do that again.
Oh, yeah. Definitely not. No way.
Yep.
No one would trust them to, even if they said so.
Yep.
Well, I think at the moment the trust is at an all-time low, and to bring that back, you have to deliver something. Here's the thing, right? They did really well with the Shadow Drop.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this could be something that we start to see at Xbox showcases. Do we think? And I won't have. I'll be actually. You know what? I'm just thinking about it now. I'm going to take my Xbox Series S with me just in case. Do you think we'll see a Shadow Drop? What could
I just chime in with? Sorry.
Go, Shane. You go, brother.
I was going to say, I've been channeling my hopium into this coming to fruition for the past 18 months. And it is the 25th anniversary of Banjo-Kazooie this June.
Oh, wow.
If there's ever going to be the best time to shadow drop a remake or a sequel, now's the time.
Banjo 3.
If it doesn't happen, then I will give up forever. But I've been channeling that hopium for so long that so that'd be my one.
Banjo success of a shadow drop from Hi-Fi Rush. Got incredible praise. The game skyrocketed because of how it was put out, and I definitely think we'll see another one. What that is, I have no idea.
I think if anything, it'll probably be that BR that we were talking about, Pete. I think if there's any shadow drop, it might be that mode from whatever they've been working on. I don't think it's just the mode. I'm thinking it's much more robust than that. Whatever they've been working on, certain affinity for Halo, I think we'll see that shadow dropped or mentioned like, oh, and you can download this now or after the show or something like that or soon. That's what I think.
I think that's a great point, Umbra, because if there's one game that you don't want to give anyone time to criticize before it launches, it's whatever's next for Halo. Like you just put it in their hands and people will make up their mind. Yeah, so I'm 100% in agreement on that one.
Oh, that's a big call. I don't think they'll do that. I think the game will be too big for that. I think it deserves the marketing campaign. But that's a really interesting point.
No, I agree. I agree with that.
It's a mode though. Yeah, because it's not a new game fully. It's a mode for it. So I hear you, but I don't think it's necessary unless to like market it.
I 110% agree with that. I think and the reasoning behind that is perfect. Like, yep, they show something for Halo, it's going to get torn to shreds, whether it's good or bad. That's just the Halo community. They're worse than like you said, Umbra, worse than well, maybe not quite as bad as the Star Wars community. I just wanted to say that the last 3 movies of Star Wars were most definitely the best.
Emotional, damn it!
Not even that nonsense.
What do you have to say about that, JediKnightPeter?
Nonsense. Just
if you all didn't know, Kathleen Kennedy is his favorite. That's his favorite.
Loves Kathleen.
Search your feelings, you know it to be true.
I love it, Shane.
I used that the other day.
Strong in the force of you, my friend.
Yeah, look, I'll be there, and I hope that they do the Xbox community justice. We will move on to the next topic. But if they even drop 3 of the games that we've got touted, you know, the Avoweds, the Fables, the Hellblades, and they're coming, you know, this year, I think that that's a huge win for Xbox. And if they deliver, I think we're back on track. If they can't deliver in the next game and this showcase, I think we've got an issue. And it's a very concerning one. I'll always be Xbox. It's not like I'm going to pack up my kit and caboodle and go home. But yeah, I think they really need to deliver on the showcase and then deliver on Starfield and then deliver on the next game. And then I don't think there's anything that anyone can say. But you think that, and then you jump on Twitter and you realize that it's just really, really toxic. Look, moving on to the next topic. Before I do, please hit the like button. Subscribe if you are new here. Guys, we are running a charity stream today for Game on Cancer. The link is at the top of the description. It's also at the top of the chat. You can head there, click on the link, donate. Even $1 helps to go towards research for blood cancer. We've raised $210 so far, and thank you to everyone who has donated. You guys are absolutely amazing in the chat. And you can write a comment in there, and I will definitely read that comment out. It is today's super chat. Look, we do have a couple little small topics that are sort of a couple of things I wanted to say. Gaming has been great for gamers, and I think Mark said that in the chat. And we have had some absolute bangers this year. It's been great for everyone. Third parties have really landed. First parties are lacking for both consoles, in my opinion, but it has been fantastic. We got another little one. It's up on screen now. Ravenlok. Look, this is not getting the fair shake I believe it deserves. And guys, I don't know if you want to drop in the behind the scenes chat here if you've played it, so I don't go to you. But I managed to play probably maybe an hour, 2 hours of this. Look, it's really, really easy. It's a super easy game, sort of easy breezy. Mechanically, it's really sound. It's fun. My gripe with it is it could have been they were so close to making an absolutely fantastic game, but it's just super easy. But it's fun, and I don't think it's terrible. And I don't think that I like these little games that get dropped into Game Pass, and you can just have a bit of a run through. Absolutely, Big Mad Mo and Thimber in the chat both saying that they played the game, they loved it. I think it's not bad, Shane. I won't go to you because you haven't, and you're not keen.
It looks cool. The art style looks cool.
But JediKnightPete, did you get a chance to have a crack at this one? Or have you been all of us have been like hammering Jedi Survivor. That game is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, look, I did actually load up the game and I played it for probably 15 minutes just to see what it was like before the show. So, look, honestly, I haven't given it a good enough go. I like the art style, it's really cutesy, everything I've read about the game. I think I'm going to enjoy it. It's just a really chilled out, laid back game that you can play in a party. Really, really easy, really, really simple. And look, it's on Game Pass, guys. Download it, give it a try, and see if it's for you.
Yeah, man. And look, I am a little bit of an achievement hunter, and it pops, a few achievements. I love that sound. I'm like Monad. I get like a little adrenaline rush, some endorphins release every time I hear that diamond thing go off. So I definitely will complete the game, even though it is easy. It's also fun. Umber, are you going to jump into Ravenlok and have a crack? I know you've been stuck in Jedi Survivor.
Yeah, Jedi Survivor has me on lock, man. But I wanted to play a bit of this earlier too, but we had kicked it in a party and we're playing golf with friends. So that took priority, but yeah, man, I'm going to play it. But by all accounts, I'm hearing that people are liking it. But it is, like you said, it's very simple. Visually, is nice. What engine did they use for this, by the way?
I think Unity. I'm pretty sure it was Unity.
It's really a pretty game. I mean, I like the art style of it and everything. I was sold because I had heard our good brother Miles Dumpierre. He claimed that it was kind of a Souls-like esque Zelda esque game, and that's what he said. And I was like, so I guess I was.
Damn it!
Yeah, Riskit knows that's a pet peeve of mine when people think everyone calls everything a Dark Souls esque game.
Yeah,
it's just infuriating.
No!
I can see a bit of the Zelda esque parts of it. Is very clear.
Bro, I just checked, bro. It is
Unity. Okay, yeah, I like the art style and everything. I will give it a try. I've seen a few people beat it already. So not only is it incredibly simplified as far as the difficulty in combat, it's really quick. It's a very short game. So I've seen people play it and beat it in a few hours. It's not long at all. So maybe that's a positive. Mm-hmm. Maybe it doesn't overstay its welcome. So definitely give it a try. Like Pete pointed out, it is in Game Pass.
I've been told that many times that it's not long at all. I was talking about the game.
I've never been told that. Yeah, I've never been told that. Thank the Lord. My entire confidence would go away. Yeah, that's exactly what I would hear internally if somebody said that to me. But yeah, I think the game, I'm going to give it a try for sure. I got so many games to get back to, man. I got to get back to Ghostwire, which I enjoyed the hell out of. I got to get back to Dead Space. I got to get too much. But yeah, I am going to give this a try.
Yeah, Dead Space was an absolute banger.
It is good. And then you got Benedict Cumberbatch, as you like to say. I got to get back to that too. So I got a ton of games, but Star Wars takes precedence. But this right here, Star Wars takes the lead as far as that goes. But I will give it a try, and it seems like it'll be quick enough to get through. So I'll probably just play, dedicate a few hours to it and get it out of the way.
Absolutely.
Just so you know, these guys never sleep. That's the way that they can play this many games. Just so you know.
That's the trick.
I was going to say, Riskit, I literally jumped into Redfall for maybe an hour and got 12 achievements or something for the game. So, it's a good achievement hunting game.
Yeah, I mean, that's a positive for Redfall at a time when it really needs something. Look, Cutie, have you had a chance to have a look at Ravenlok yet? I know you actually have. You enjoyed it. I remember talking to you about it.
Yeah. I was playing a little bit yesterday. I don't know. It's not grabbing me. Like it's kind of cool. I'm kind of getting a little bit bored with the combat. I don't know. But outside of that, yeah, it's all right. It's not like
it's not super.
It's not. Yeah, it's not game breaking, like industry breaking or whatever.
Yeah,
but it's too simple for you. Is it too simple? The combat is really simplified.
Yeah.
It's simple. It's easy. You can sort of jump in there and just.
Dragons!
I just wanted to use
that. That was loud as hell. That was louder than all of them.
It was, man. Damn.
That startled me.
Startled you?
Look, sort of. Yes.
It's sort sensitive over there.
Had me clutching my pearls.
Oh my God.
My southern pearls. Let me stop.
Oh, wow. That was that's
emotional damage.
That's
Spicy meatball!
This soundboard, I'm going to have to turn it off. It sort of brings me to the next. I had these topics all sort of rolled into one because they are all intermingled, extremely intermingled this week. And Weelong released a post saying that they sold 1 million. I wasn't a big fan of Weelong, didn't really play it, but they've had 3.8 million players, and that sort of gives you a bit of a gauge of how well Game Pass does for developers. We did have a bit of a conversation about how much they might have got paid, and I think it's going to be a very difficult one to sort of work out when you consider that cooking simulator got 600,000. So I can imagine that these guys would be definitely in the high millions. But 3.8 million players. This was a multi-plat as well. There's obviously other, game sharing and lots of other things that sort of happen. Gives us a bit of a good gauge. But Game Pass, in my opinion, this year has really fired on all cylinders. I think coming out of 2022 at the back end, they started to fire hard. And this year, they've just been giving us game after game. And we've also had game after game with the third party. So when it comes to the gaming landscape as a whole, not just as an Xbox fan, I think this year has probably been one of the best years that I can absolutely remember. And I know it's early in the year, and I sort of hate doing this, and I gave someone named Nib95 a whole lot of shit last year for doing this, but I'm going to do it myself. So Nib, if you ever listen. But game of the year for me so far, I wanted to talk about that for a little bit for everyone. So Shane, I'm going to jump to you. I'm not going to say me first. I'm going to jump to Shane. Shane, so far this year, how's the gaming landscape looking for you? What are your game of the years? What have you loved this year?
I haven't played too much, but Hi-Fi Rush is definitely the standout. I got to the end of that and just wanted to keep playing. Like, thankfully, I think the end game is actually really strong. There's, some story beats that continue, some hidden areas on the maps that you're incentivized to go back to. I love everything about that game. I think it's exactly what we look for, and just, like we've discussed before, perfect shadow drop. It's hard for me to think that Star Wars won't be up there for me. I really enjoying Jedi Survivor. I'm only a few hours in, but what it's showing me so far, I think it'll be probably in my top 5. If it's not, well, that means we're just going to get a lot more amazing games so far, or for the rest of the year, pardon me. Outside of that, I'm keen to try Benedict Fox. I think it's totally up my alley, so I think that's a safe bet, that one that I'll really enjoy. I definitely agree that the start of the year has been really strong. Horror's not my bag, but I love that the horror community have Dead Space as an amazing title to go to. I will say that yes, on the surface level, it's been a good start, but I think we look at particularly if you're a PC player and you're seeing all these bugs released on so many different games, that maybe your experience in 2023 is a bit different. Yes, surface level, I think fantastic games are being delivered. It's great.
Yeah, and honestly, like I said, this has been the year for gamers. It's one of the best that I can remember. Cutie, what's top of your list this year? What's game of the year for you so far?
Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh my God.
That was coming.
You guys knew that was coming. Come on, I love that game.
Avada Kedavra.
I have it on every single thing I can have it on. So yeah, love that game.
Everything.
But look,
Let me stop.
That's one of the few games I haven't finished. That's one of the few games.
Hogwarts is dope, though. I'm with her on that one, though.
If you haven't finished Hogwarts Legacy, we can't be friends.
Yeah,
I'm
look,
kidding.
this is the thing with Hogwarts, and this is the thing I'll push back on. It's not in my game of the years. It was really good, but that game should not have been I think you could probably pull out about 100 hours of that game if you wanted to. That game should have been a 15-hour experience max.
That's all right, but you asked me what my games of the year would be, and that's my opinion.
Yeah,
not yours.
Soundboard time.
Emotional damage.
I was wondering which one you was gonna pick.
Yeah, that
I
was
don't
me. I
remember
used that
asking
one.
you a goddamn thing.
Where's the rewind function on this?
I love that. I do love
Replay that.
Umbra, what do you got for your game of the year? What's hitting it for you this year? What are you looking forward to as well? I mean, we know Cutie's looking forward to. What's game of the year for you? What do you think could knock your game of the year currently off its perch? And what is your game of the year?
In honor of funds, Starfield. Yeah, I think Starfield is. Yeah, I think that's going to knock every game out of the way. I think Zelda is going to be one of the standouts, obviously, but I'm not going to be playing it anytime soon. But yeah, man, right now, if I had to pick between all my games so far, Hi-Fi Rush is one of my Game of the Year contenders. Hogwarts is definitely a Game of the Year contender. I loved every minute of that game, Cutie. I'm with you 100% on that.
Thank you.
It is a spectacular game. Brisket, I don't think you give it enough credit, honest to God. And I don't think it needed to be 15 hours either. I think it's the appropriate amount of time. Yeah. What the hell?
I pressed the wrong button.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that didn't even fit. Okay. And I would say, honestly, though, I would be hard pressed. I don't know if it's recency bias or what, but Jedi Survivor has probably taken the lead. I will be honest, overall, just because of how it's like you said, Pete. One of the better moments I've had in gaming has been, I know what you're talking about too, has been in this game. It's an engaging game, man. I don't know how else to put it. It's just so fun. It is so engaging to just be into this world. They did a really good job at the world building, the combat, the traversal when you're moving around. It just feels good. That's the best way I can, and then it's just fun. So I would put that up there too. I don't know if I would replace Hogwarts with it yet, but it's in there. But I think Starfield would be, if I had to say what would possibly replace everything, would be probably be that.
So we got Star Wars Survivor at the top of the rung. Pete, and Starfield knocking it off. Pete, what are you thinking? Like, what's your game of the year so far? I'm pretty sure I know this one, but can anything knock that off?
Redfall, definitely game of the year, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, looks. My name is JediKnightPeter. My go-to is going to be Jedi Survivor. Like Umbra just said, I had one of the best moments in gaming that I've ever had in that game, and I really don't want to spoil it for anybody. Just go play that game. It is something truly special. I absolutely love it. There have been 3 games that have really stood out to me, so when I'm not playing them, I'm thinking about them. Jedi Survivor, Resident Evil 4, and it was just a beta, but Diablo 4, and I cannot wait for the full release of that game.
Mm-hmm.
I got a few like little dark horses like Flintlock, Lies of P. I don't think anything will actually take over Jedi Survivor. And honestly, Riskit, I agree with you with Hogwarts. I got to level 31. I think they needed to cut a bit of the fat of that game. I did enjoy what I played. I really did enjoy it, but it doesn't stand in my game of the year at the moment.
No, it definitely doesn't stand in my game of the year, and it was good. And then I just fell off because I was like, same shit, and that's a very Ubisoft thing. And some games work for me when that happens. Like Valhalla, that worked for me. A lot of people disagree, but I 100% of that game until the DLC came out. But for me, Jedi Survivor's nailed it. Like, it's what I would call semi-open world and Metroidvania, and it's just the level design is just fantastic. Like, it is done so well, and some of the set piece moments that are in that game rival anything that PlayStation has done. Like, this is one of the best Star Wars stories I've ever seen. Like, I love this story. This story is amazing. It's one of those things that when you dance with your feet while you're sitting down, you're like, yes, or like, wow, or there's a lot of that excitement that this game has, and I 110% recommend people to jump into this. And I can't see anyone. I haven't heard anything negative about this game. It's definitely my game of the year. What I don't think anything can knock this off. I think it's top of the run.
Starfield might challenge it? You don't think so? Huh?
I'm not a Starfield kind of guy. Never have been.
You never played it, never enjoyed it, you know?
Never played it, never enjoyed it. Yeah. But maybe Diablo, and don't forget to slam the servers Diablo beta. That's happening from the 12th to the 14th. So if you did miss the first one, I definitely recommend jumping in on that one. I know a lot of people have this I'm not a beta tester thing, but that game, it didn't feel like a beta. It felt complete. And it was really fun. And it just, I think that's possibly going to be the game that may knock it off. But then, what's Xbox going to bring with this showcase? What if they drop a new game, or they've got a new game coming in the end of this year? What if Hellblade releases? Hellblade could be one that may knock it off. That game was sensational.
Yeah,
so
you never know. And remember,
book it, Banjo-Kazooie.
Remember, one of my predictions before Riskit was that Hellblade 2 would release later this year. Remember that, you all? I called it way back. And it seems like kind of Phil is mentioning it more. I'm starting to get the feeling it could be this year, if not early next year. But I would say this too, Risk. I feel you 100% on Survivor, and that's why it's hard for me. I'm feeling like it might be my number one so far for Game of the Year. It's those moments, man. You literally, I felt joy where I was like, yeah, like a kid in moments because it was so fun. It was so rewarding doing the stuff you did in that game.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard to really replicate that in all games, really, and it's not easy to capture that feeling and to make you feel like a kid again when you're playing these. And that game, this game rather manages to do that in spades for me. So I'm with you.
Just quick comment on Star Wars. Like, it's pretty amazing to me that reflecting on the licensed games this year. This might be one of the best years for licensed AAA games ever, right? Like, Hogwarts Legacy seems to have delivered for that fan base. Star Wars is doing the same. Spider-Man likely to do the same as well. I think now that Suicide Squad has been delayed, that probably actually helps that argument. But yeah, that's so awesome. Like, it wasn't too long ago that Batman Arkham was really the only or one of the only franchises to be kicking out of the park in terms of high quality licensed content. So. That's amazing. And I will say with Star Wars as well, like Jedi Survivor, I feel as though it presents what could be an interesting template for Fable. Like it's such high quality action, fantastic semi-open world to your point, Riskit, the way it weaves in the force powers as well. Like you take away the Star Wars license from this and turn it into a fantasy action RPG, and I think you have yourself a fantastic Fable game.
That is a great point, Shane. That is a really great point. And that's kind of what I said earlier. Like, license be damned. This game is foundationally great. And you're right. Take that away from that. Take it and just say, hey, you got magic powers. This game, you would be playing this and be like, oh, I love this. This needs to be a new tentpole. That's what you would come away with.
Yeah.
One of the best new franchises in recent memory. Yeah.
Well, I think when games do it the best, and this is where Jedi sort of nailed it, obviously with the level design, as you gain more powers, you get more access to the levels that you've already been to. So there's always something for you to do there. But I like games that develop mechanically over time and then have a purpose. Like, there's a lot of games that give you a new mechanic. You don't have to use it. It's not a necessary mechanic, and you end up overlooking it or not using it. I love how Jedi gives you new powers, new access to levels, new mechanics that you have to use, that become available to you later in the game and as you progress. So it keeps you interested. It updates the gameplay as it moves. And I think that you're absolutely right. If Fable does anything similar like that, as well as what Fable is famous for, which is sort of a living, breathing world, one of the first that ever did it. And as you develop in the game, if they don't have you developing into evil or you developing into good and changing as you do, that's not Fable. So hopefully Fable nails that. I really hope they do.
I gotta say, dog companion or we riot. Like that has to be back.
Dog companion.
Eminent too. Yeah, both games have the passion of the IP that is behind them oozing through them. You can see that the developers truly loved the IP that they were developing it for, and I love when that happens. I think this is the best Star Wars story that we've gotten in a very long time. Hogwarts, I didn't really like the last couple of movies. This game was excellent. The story was told in a very good way as well. So I love that. I love when they nail the atmosphere of the IP they're going for.
Oh, Red Panda in the chat.
Happy birthday,
cutie.
Thank you.
Look, we do have to move to the. Well, it's not really a topic. It's just some news that I wanted to shout out there. It's something that I have been waiting for a very, very long time, and I sort of picked up on it this morning. Only added it to the topics early this morning, which is sort of why I was late to the Discord. But it's pretty significant, because it's something that has been a bugbear of mine with Xbox for quite some time. And it's a step forward, and I really appreciate this. And it's obviously, this is not on Xbox, but the way that they did this is on Xbox. So before I do, please hit the like button, share us out. We go live at 8 p.m. EST every Friday. And guys, if you want a super chat, you can do that by going up to the top of the chat, pressing on the donate button. It will be there in the description after the show if you feel you want to donate. To Game on Cancer, who are doing research, providing funds for research on blood cancer. And we have raised so far today $210, which is absolutely amazing considering my last stream raised a grand total of 0. But finally, this happened. So the Seagate SSDs have dropped dramatically in price, and I mean dramatically in price. Seagate has come out and said that they will be that this will be a permanent drop. It will not change. It will not go back up. So these are Australian prices, and I just want this to. I'm using Aussie prices because I want you guys to understand the weight of what this means in a country like Australia, like Canada, like any other country in the world, really, by the UK and the EU. But the Seagate 2 terabyte expansion card in Australia, and this is not even its full price, but you could pick it up for $719 for a terabyte.
Mm-hmm.
So for 2 terabytes, sorry. Now, in comparison, the Xbox Series X, which is a 1 terabyte SSD inside already, comes at a price of $750. Which is just an astounding. Like, why would you buy? I would rather buy another Series X than switch between the two, if I'm honest. And I was even considering doing so. They have dropped the price today to 466 Australian. That's a significantly huge drop. And I just wanted to sort of bring that to the fore and let everyone know that had happened. Have you been waiting for the price to drop? Let us know in the chat. Guys, what do you think of this?
Riskit, where is that, mate? Where are you seeing that?
It's GameSpot.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can have a look at GameSpot, but if you jump on JB and check out JB Panda, and then you jump on to Amazon, I don't think the prices have filtered through to the retail stores yet, but they have filtered through to Amazon, as they do digitally first. So yeah, you'll still be able to find the price at your retail stores at the high price of $719 or $720. It's probably $555,000 in NZ, but yeah, in Amazon you can pick it up for $466 AU, which is craziness. And the actual recommended retail price is $730, which is just fucking madness, absolute madness. Guys, so will you guys be picking up? Pete, I already know you have one, but Cutie, does this make you, especially considering that you have a Series S? Which is the problem that I've found. It doesn't really have much storage. Would you consider picking one up at that price?
I've already got a 2 terabyte external hard drive for my Series S, which I'm fine with. I don't mind moving the games in and out of the console. It doesn't bother me very much because once I'm on a game, I kind of play that for a while. And usually I have enough leftover storage to add on any small, like, new Game Pass games that I want to put on there. And then once I've done them, they just go back. But yeah, I mean, this is great for anyone who does have a Series S or anyone who just has every single game as a digital copy on their Series X. So those people will be happy about that, I'm sure. And yeah, definitely the price needed to drop. And yeah, I'm surprised it didn't happen earlier, to be honest, and like at Christmas time or something like that. That would have made more sense to me. But yeah, definitely a good thing for all of us enthusiasts that have a large library of games on our consoles.
Well, I agree. It's weird timing, but it's timing that actually does make sense because we got news a couple of weeks ago that there was more of these entering the market. So I think the license had ended with Seagate. And I think what they've done is actually pretty predatory, to be honest, because they can obviously afford to take this hit, and they haven't dropped the price until they heard that there was another. I mean, this is how things work in competition. You've got a monopoly on something, you charge what you want, and they did have a monopoly on it. And now that we've seen another coming to the market, they've obviously dropped their price in anticipation of that, and that's pretty predatory. And depending on the price of the other one, I'll probably go after that. But I mean, this is here now. But I would also say to Panda, I would wait, to be fair, and see what the other ones comes in at, what price it comes in at. I believe it's Western Digital that are doing one as well.
I know some people really trust the hardware from Microsoft, and they like to use Microsoft only hardware with their Xbox.
Yeah, this is not from Microsoft though. This is from Seagate. So Microsoft doesn't actually make the SSDs. That's
No, I know, but I suppose it was it was the first one, so people would trust
Official
that.
license. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Western Digital one is $180 for 1 terabyte at Best Buy, America.
Wow.
For me, if I had to grab one right now, it would be the 2 terabyte, and I'm with Panda on that one because it was at 400 and now it's at 270, at least here in America. I don't know how much ridiculous price it might be out for you all, but yeah, for us here in America, sheesh. Yeah, for us it's 270. So that's what, $130 drop right there. That is well worth it at that point. But I'm with you, Riskit. I think I'll wait just to see what other options they bring. You never know what might happen. And honestly, it's well past time they've had other people actually giving us choice. So we'll see. But if I had to pick, it'll be the 2 terabyte one. That seems the most reasonable for price and size that you would get out of it. But I am content still with just doing the old delete and read down and download of games for now. So I can hold off if I need to. But if I did get one, 2 terabytes makes the most sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, for me, who has a Series S, it makes sense. But I also I have staple games that are always on my hard drive, and I'd love to have them on an SSD that I could just transfer between the two, keeping my other hard drives, the internal hard drives free for games like, like Resident Evil 4 and games like that. So I can,
Games
play.
are only getting bigger, guys,
Yes, absolutely. And that's what all the ladies say to me.
I was waiting for somebody to make a pun off that. Even a silence after she said it called for it.
No, I'm serious.
Jedi was 135
Yeah.
gigs.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, like Forza with its DLCs now, I think it's 140.
Definitely is
130.
nuts. Sorry.
And it's definitely stupid big.
It's stupidly huge.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, my God. I'm an idiot.
Wow. This is taking a turn.
Cutie's
It
excited.
must be nearing the end. Yeah.
This is big, guys.
So just looking up the Western digitals, they are $360 US, right? So I believe the Seagates would come in around the $200 mark for 2 terabyte in America. So very interesting that they have dropped well below the thing to cut out Western Digital. They've obviously made their money. Yeah, this is predatory as fuck, actually. I kind of don't like this, if I'm honest.
He's stewing on it, guys. We're getting him angry.
Yeah,
Someone move on.
It's infuriating, isn't it, Riskit? Like, I think they're still making money at the price they're selling at it now. That shows you how much they were making on it before. It was a bad move by Xbox to give them complete control of the market. And if they were going to do that, then give it to them for a year. The 2 year was just too long.
Yeah,
I'm glad someone else is coming to the market now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's obviously forced it down, but yeah, they should not have given them the license. I think they should have spread that around. But then again, you've got to get someone to produce that for you because they are not producing that hardware. So I mean, I'm sure that was in the deal. But look, that we do have to move on to the end of the show. It's been an absolutely amazing show, guys. But before we do, if you can donate to Game on Cancer, that would be absolutely amazing. We don't normally have super chats turned on or ask for super chats or anything like that. This is for a great cause. This is for cancer research. Anything you can donate is greatly appreciated. And if it's 50 cents, if it's $1, I don't care. It all goes to cancer research. We've raised $210. And yeah, we really appreciate everyone who has donated. Big shout out to Hargate who put 150 of that in. He is a champion. Shout out to Riskit who put in 20, Peter who put in 20, and Silent Cypher. He did leave a message as well, and he said he lost his dad to an extreme cancer, and he's happy to support that research wherever possible. Was really sorry to hear that, Silent Cypher. Yeah, I understand. I've got family battling cancer right at this very moment, and it's not. It's fucked. Fuck cancer, as the shirt says. Shane, you have been an absolutely amazing guest. Love your shirt, by the way. We loved having you on the show, man, and all the work that you guys do for cancer is really amazing, and really appreciate what you're doing out there in the community and what you're trying to build, and anything that we can do to help or that I could do to help, you just hit me up and let me know. Thanks for coming on the show. If you want to find Shane, you can just head down in the description and you'll be able to find him there at all of his links. And I hope I've got all of them. Let me know if I haven't. And otherwise, Shane, let the people know what you're looking forward to, what you're excited to play, what you are playing, where they can find you, and how your week's looking.
Yeah, thanks so much, Riskit. This has been an absolute blast, guys. I'd so much fun. If you're ever desperate for a guest, just ping me. I'll always be down to jump on again. It's Shane Bailey across socials, Twitter, Instagram. If you'd like to learn more about Game on Cancer, the website is gameoncancer.com.au. Twitter handle is gameon_cancer. I want to thank everyone here for just being so supportive and being open to doing a fundraiser as part of the podcast. This is one of the favorite parts of my job, is actually just getting to interact with the community, jump on, talk about the hobby that we love, and do it all in the name of a great cause. If you'd like to learn more about like our actual researchers and what our organization does, the parent company curecancer.com.au has a bunch of information there. We've been very fortunate to fund some pretty amazing research. I actually did a lab tour not too long ago for one of our researchers in Sydney who is working on, or has been working on, a treatment for like past 5-7 years for glioblastoma, which is a deadly brain cancer that actually took my dad's life 20 years ago, unfortunately. And because of our funding of his research, he is going into clinical trials for something that might actually be able to save millions of lives. So that's it all puts into perspective that the funding the research is actually the most important part to making a difference against this terrible disease. And also, yes, you mentioned the shirt. I've very happy to say that I had a bit of input in the design on this one. So it says "fuck cancer" across the front, and each of the letters are from a different famous game franchise. And if you head to our website as well, you'll be able to find out where you can buy those from our partners at Lonely Kids Club, who are local here in Sydney, and they donate all profits back to Game on Cancer as well. So
I'm wearing mine today as well.
Yay! Awesome. But thank you so much, Riskit, and to the whole panel. Like, this has been a blast. I had so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I do have Game on Cancer linked in the website, linked in the description now as well. I didn't have that, but now I do. So if you guys head down there, you'll be able to find
the shirts as well.
You'll be able to find those shirts. You'll be able to check it all out. So guys, if you can donate, please hit that link at the top of the chat. Anything helps. It's been an absolutely fantastic show, but an absolutely terrible week. Cutie, hopefully next week brings better news and maybe a little bit more news. And how's your week looking? What are you up to for the rest of the week? What are you playing?
For the rest of the week, I'm hoping to finish Jedi Survivor. That's my main goal because I haven't finished it. I haven't finished it yet. A couple of things have taken my attention. So yeah, I'll be jumping into that. And it's my birthday today. So I'm going to be spending the day just doing whatever I want. I live in a small town.
Birthday!
I live in a small town, so there's not really like much to do around here. So yeah, I'll probably just be playing games, to be honest.
Just a small town girl.
But yeah, I'll.
No, God, please, no, no.
You can find all my links in the description below. And thank you so much to everyone who has donated. Shane Bailey and his team are just incredible people. So go and check him out. Lovely, lovely members of the gaming community. Really happy to have him on. It's been fantastic.
Absolutely, yeah, it's been amazing to have you on, Shane. And once again, guys, I will say, just plug it one more time. I don't normally plug super chats. I don't plug any of this sort of stuff because it's not what I'm in it for. But if I can help cancer, I will. So I'm going to plug it again. Hit that link at the top of the chat. And if you can donate $1, like absolutely anything, it all goes towards cancer research. And they are looking at blood cancer at the moment. And
I will... I also want to plug that I currently donate my Microsoft Rewards points through my gaming, and I donate that to Cure Cancer Australia. So you can actually go in and do that yourselves. So that's a way of donating in a sort of incidental way.
Yeah, rewards app on the console. Microsoft will donate on your behalf. So there you go.
Yeah, they match it dollar for dollar. So they don't give you the money; they give it to really, really amazing work for curing cancer.
Yeah. And they need as much help as they can get. And the work that Game on Cancer does is just, I can't say enough good about it after reading all about it. I was super amazed at what they do and how much they've raised. JediKnightPeter, another fantastic show, a really shitty week, but we've been playing a really good game. So, it is unfortunate that you don't really like Star Wars and that you hate the best 3 movies that there is. But how's your week looking and what are you going to be playing? How's things looking for you?
Wait, get back into Jedi Survivor. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather right now. I was struggling the last half an hour, but it was worth it. Happy birthday, cutie.
Thanks, Pete.
Happy birthday!
Oh my god.
Shane, it was amazing to have you on the show, bro. Like, so not only are you doing a great thing by raising money for cancer, you can just tell how passionate you are about gaming. And I love when two things can come together like that. Gaming, which I love, and curing cancer, which is so incredibly important. So thank you to the chat. I had a great time. Go play some Jedi Survivor.
Absolutely. And thank you, Umbra, for donating to the cause. And he said, this is a great cause. Keep pushing, brother. Absolutely. And Umbra, another fantastic week in podcasting, but not a great week in for Xbox. But that's all good.
Unfortunately.
Hopefully we bounce back. We got some good games. So what are you looking forward to this week? What are you up to? How's the fix looking?
The fix is getting there, man. I made a bit of a faux pas, as you saw, but where I unplugged the dang mic and plugged it into a different outlet trying to use my
God,
USB.
please, no!
And that's the feeling I had at first, but I quickly, adjusted and got it right. And thanks, Shane, by the way, for tuning in the other day. And thank you for joining us tonight, brother. It has been a fun discussion, despite the sour and dour news. But I think that's what it is. Just get great conversationalists can make great things happen regardless. Your cause that you're working for is great. And I meant that what I said when I donated. And just as a bit of, insight into my world, my grandmother, whom helped raise me, along with my mother and uncles and such, my grandmother meant the world to me, and she passed away from cancer. So I definitely relate to this cause here. And in general, just on how disastrous cancer has been on the world, and so this is a great cause. I'm grateful that you're running something like this, and like Pete pointed out, as far as just, you could tell this is just a genuine thing from you that you're pushing to do. You don't have to do this, so it is great that you're doing this, and I would hope that everybody that's hearing this would actually go and try to donate something if you can as well. And just talking games with you, brother, man, it's clear you know your stuff. I mean, I know you've been in the game industry, but you know your stuff, man. And you're talking, when you talk, you spoke from not only a game maker and developer perspective, but you definitely spoke as a fan too. So I appreciate hearing your takes and thoughts on things here.
Thanks,
and
everyone.
of
Thanks,
course,
everyone. That's kind.
No doubt. And of course, to you guys, I got nothing but love. You all my family here. So love to the chat, but more importantly, love to my fellow panelists and host here of this show. All love to you, Cutie. Again, happy birthday. Go ahead, Riskit. Cue it.
Pete! No!
Which one?
That was the wrong one. That definitely was not it. Yeah. But as far as
no, I messed it up.
That wasn't
Emotional, damn it!
Someone take that soundboard away from this man.
Anyway, I just shared the link to my channel. If you all have not subscribed to it, brother, please do so. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm on the road to 1,000 already, almost there with that. So that's it's great news. Also, as far as Twitter, of course, you all can find me Infinite Umber or Umber Infinite. You'll find me either way. And I'm going to be on Jedi Survivor too. I might be in a party with you guys later just to continue celebrating with Cutie and everything like that. We might get some more drinks or something like
God
that.
help us all. I'm gonna
Yeah.
be there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what time
I
is
got
it?
my tequila. I got my
actually
tequila
have to
ready.
go back
Oh,
to the liquor
damn.
store because I literally cleaned myself out last night.
No! God, please, no!
Join us,
We'll
Shane,
probably
man, if
be
you want to
kicking it
come
on
through.
Xbox. Let's
Oh,
be
100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
Love
things got a little bit wild, Shane. I don't know if you want this as the introduction to the Xbox, but I got to tell you,
Again, yeah.
It's the perfect introduction right here.
definitely not. I dropped out. Like I was like, oh, no, I'm out of here. Now look at it. Look, it's been an absolutely amazing show. It's a bit of a bad week. Look, I didn't take the hit too hard. I got to tell you, Starfield was my big hit, the one that really hurt for me because. I mean, it sounds a bit stupid, but I've been with the Xbox and I've invested in the platform, and I love the brand. I love what they've done over the years. I love what the joy that they provided me, and that was the big hit for me. And look, I just want their messaging to improve, and all the things that we have said is so that they improve. We want them to do well. I want them to succeed. I want the best on the platform that I choose to play on. And that's all we're doing here today. But guys, if you want to find anyone in the panel or our guest, you can head down in the description. If you're watching after the fact and you made it this far, thank you very, very much. You can also donate. Head down there and click the link. The link will be in the description also. And I'll be playing Jedi Survivor until I finish it, but I'm actually supposed to be working right now. I didn't head out to work this week because I've got a bit of a foot issue. But I need to jump on the laptop and start responding to emails. So it's been a fantastic show. Thanks for coming, everyone. And happy birthday to Cutie.
Happy birthday!
And we will see you all next week. Oh, by the way, Dauntless, I just want to say one more thing.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
Happy birthday, cutie.
Happy birthday, Cutie.
Thanks, everyone.